You and I are predetermined nonsense, and that's okay. You and I have predetermined consequence, and that's okay. And that's okay. You and I are locked into our destiny, and that's okay. And that's okay. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. You and I, friends telling nonsense. You gotta, and that's okay. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You gotta know what you want. You gotta, and that's okay. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You and I are predetermined nonsense, have predetermined consequence. You and I, that's okay. You and I, friends telling nonsense. Look out, and that's okay. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you You and I are locked into our destiny, and that's okay. And that's okay. Nothing seems to go right. Melodies don't sound right. It's true. Days disappear. Shadows remain plainly clear. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. The door opens as it slows. I see a shade of something moving like a blanket in the wind. perfect to heal me in the end. The door opens and the fizzing in my beard slows. She walks by and the spinning in my head grows. The door opens as it slows. I wish that I was pretty, more pretty than reflections look tonight. But I'm past the point of caring. It's time to make a moment. Let's not make a moment. This shouldn't be a moment. The door opens and the fizzing in my beer slows. She walks by, the spinning in my head grows. When the door opens and the fizzing in my beer slows, as she walks by, oh, she walks by, the spinning in my head grows. Watch it go. The door opens and it slows. Closing sale, everything must go, nothing left behind, no wild oats to sow. It's out of my way, I'm done now, you see. You took the meat, but not my bones, now throw away your key. One foot out the door, persistent, you are frozen in time. Oh, I love you slips out of my mind. So sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. Set sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. I'll take my ship away as the storm rolls in. I hope the wind is with me, and I hope you've learned that the pirate within me is sworn to the truth. Live or die by this rule. Something old and something new is the treasure within me. As sad as it seems, you will come to know what it all means to me. Set sail, set sail, little bird. Just go and set sail. Set sail, set sail, little bird. You just go now and sit still. Some pictures and some memories, ones I can't forget. On the crest of my black heart, you best not forget that the pirate never loses. He always collects one way or another. Now you can clear up all your regrets of the time you set sail with that pirate from the sky. You will remember him until that day that you die. Set sail, little bird. Now come on, just set sail. Set sail, little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Set sail, oh, little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Don't forget to lose your mind tonight. Just watch me. Hello. Don't you think about responsibilities. Just feel what you want. Feel what you want tonight. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. We'll send you on your way if you say so. You try to, but you see me staring back at you. I'm staring back at you. So have another dance with me, my dear. Move your hips like this. It's clear I'm what you.
All right, dudes. Welcome to the Pangburn Hangout. We are back. Today we're going to be talking about aliens.
Another kid because
shit.
it'd just be better, you know.
For us. That's I'm sure at some point she's like, no more. I can't do that again.
Well, she's kind of like she wants more children, but we're not getting any younger. So, and she's had a couple of like health-ish things.
Are you guys talking about Bruce's alien wife?
Yeah, hang on a second. I'll be right back.
I asked him how his little man's doing.
Nice. Well, how you guys doing today?
Good, man. How you doing?
My alien
doing pretty
wife.
good. Doing
Why is
pretty
my
good.
wife an alien?
No, I was just trying to tie it into the topic for today.
Oh,
What was the topic?
Aliens.
Was that a conversation earlier today, or is that like happening now?
It's right now. We're starting.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Okay, cool.
People ask me that all the time as a theist. They're like, "What about aliens? What if we find them?" Like,
yeah, well,
That's
it's
it.
a good question, and it's Dal Tuesday, so I'll let him run this. But I think that is a good question. Like, Bruce, does that mean anything to your Christianity? If we find
they're
them
not
and
created,
they're like,
well, I would say all of them are under creation. If they're created beings in the image of God at all, then they're in the same situation I'm in. But if they're not created by God, then They're not a part of salvation or any part of our worry.
What if they claim and show you all the proof necessary to demonstrate that they actually fabricated the whole Christian system of belief?
Well, that wouldn't necessitate God as he has been described in the very text. So it would be hard to believe.
Have you ever read Childhood's End? Any of you guys?
What is it?
Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke.
No, that sounds interesting.
Really strange movie. So basically, the idea is like these aliens come to Earth, but the aliens look like the devil, and it's like everybody is like freaking out and like thinking that like people think that they're gonna try to kill everybody.
Right.
But in the end of the story, what they were doing is like basically this like race of aliens go and save planets that are like about to be destroyed. So they save all the life forms in those planets. It's a really strange movie in both. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is. What up, Dal? It's your day, man. What led you to aliens? Was it Bob Lazar?
I don't know. It was one of those spontaneous things, like the nuclear bomb one. I was like wondering what I was going to do, and then it was like, had my tinfoil hat on, was hanging out, and was like, oh, aliens, right.
Nice.
Well, who's the guy, George Stephanopoulos, who's the alien guy?
Is that the guy whose answer to everything is aliens?
Is aliens did it? What's that guy's name? I know he's Greek. I don't think it's George Stephanopoulos.
Yeah, the guy with the crazy hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to look like Einstein.
So what if aliens came and did the opposite? Like they were already Christian. Like aliens show up preaching the word of Christ. What do we do then?
Then they're angels probably.
Oh shit!
They're celestial beings.
What if they're not? What if they look just like human beings and they're like, oh, we've also found Jesus Christ, and Jesus, like in their stories, like, that would be a wild.
The same God that created all of the universe that would create them. So that's the reason why.
That'd be a wild thing. I mean, that would be
that's
like
the most.
Like, I think there might be some evidence now. If like some people who had the exact same idea, who'd never had any sort of contact, that'd be interesting. Wouldn't be total proof, but that'd definitely be interesting.
It'd be pretty crazy if it was something like Christianity, because that's like Jesus Christ is pretty central, and he's like a dude. So if they were all Christian, I would be like, whoa.
What about this? What if aliens came down there and they just said, first thing they said to us was "Allah Akbar," whatever that term is. Like, what would you guys think?
Allah Akbar. If they said that,
fuck.
If they say "Allah Akbar," we're like, no.
Wassalamu alaikum, my brother. Like, let's be friends.
You start telling them that there's only one God. That God is Muhammad, and Allah was his prophet. Sorry, one God, Allah, and Muhammad was his prophet. You have to say the creed if you don't want to be killed. You guys know that, right?
What is it? Well, it's God is great. All things are great through God, or whatever. That's the
the Shahada.
Assalamu alaikum, or whatever. I don't know the whole thing, but that's basically what it means, right? Is God is great. Everything is good through God is the response, or something like that.
Yeah, basically, I think it's like ilaha. So there's no deity but God. So it's like and then there's like something like Muhammadan Rasulullah, which is like there's Muhammad is the messenger of God. But I mean, usually like that stops them.
In Family Guy, what's his name? News anchor Tom Tucker would call that something September 11th-y.
Tom Tucker.
Tucker.
Tucker. I was like when he fights with his co-anchor on that.
Yeah.
What was that, Dom?
I was gonna bring up, I think, Mace said it when I first announced the thing, but he was basically talking about the definition of aliens. So I think that something that we ought to do before we really talk about aliens is, what are they? Like, if we find hyper intelligent squids at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, are those aliens, or are those just like really smart squids at the bottom of the ocean?
That's when you get into
they wouldn't be alien from the planet unless if they originate from here, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have to prove origin.
When I was gonna say, Dal, do we want to send out like a message at everyone to see if we get more people in first before we? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get more people in. There'll be a lot of people coming. So stand by.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just looked up the dictionary definition for alien. The very first definition is belonging to a foreign country or nation. The third one is relating to or denoting being supposedly from other worlds, extraterrestrial.
Did you ever see Dazed and Confused?
I love that movie.
George Washington was in the cult, man. The cult was in the aliens, man.
Dude, one of my favorite scenes of that movie is when they're climbing up the moon tower, and he's like, oh yeah, man, a couple years ago, a freshman was climbing up here, fell, hit his head on every rung of the ladder, every step down. It's like, and he only had 2 beers. How many beers have you had, man? And the guy's like 3. He's like, oh, you're fucked.
So I just want to say quickly, for anyone who's listening on YouTube, it's telling me, I don't even know if this is true, but it's telling me that there's 227 people viewing right now. If you are new to the new Pangburn Offensive channel, please consider subscribing if you enjoy the conversation today, and consider joining us and jumping on this open mic. Dal Tzu is running the conversation today. We're talking about aliens, everything relating to aliens. We'll probably even talk about immigration. But jump in and join us and say hello, just so I know you're not bots. Say hello in the chat if you can hear this communication. All right.
That's awesome, man. 213. That's
according to this,
I just pulled it up. Yep, I just pulled it up too. It's like, damn.
Well, nobody's in the chat yet, so
that's what I'm looking at. But the likes are going up, so someone's hearing me.
Hey guys, I just called everybody jive turkeys to see if
jive turkey. Yeah.
Mace is here. I'm receiving a big download from the mothership. Give me a minute.
They're here.
I think Dal says he's getting a download from the mothership. I think he's talking about bong rips.
Bong rips. Wow.
Bong rips.
Where you guys just got to download real quick, man. Just give me a sec.
The casual Doolittle DMT. Fucking Nivik. What up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
You got to be more upbeat than that, brother. We're talking aliens today.
You bring up DMT. I'm actually interested. My buddy said he got these like psilocybin drops for like microdosing. And he's like, hey, man, I just got you a jar. I'm going to go get that this weekend and try that and see what that's all about.
So is it possible to take a full dose as opposed to microdose with those? Like, could you just take more and it would be like the equivalent?
Yeah, I think you just have to take a lot. Like it comes in like a little dropper with like an eye drop, and one drop is just like a tiny, tiny amount. It's been diluted a lot.
I think it's possible to
drink like half the jar.
What if we ate pigs that ate the mushrooms?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give pigs a diet like that has some psilocybin in it, and then we eat those pigs. Would that be an easy way to get everyone into the psilocybin benefits without maybe the psychotropic benefit?
I just wonder how like the metabolism of that animal would affect the compound itself. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting though. I mean, we could just get a monkey to eat him, and then we could eat the monkey's poop, like Kofi Luwak. It's gonna bring up that coffee. Isn't that like $1,000 for a bag of coffee that like monkeys eat shit out, and somebody goes and collects those shit out beans, and then they cook them? I don't think it's 1,000. I think it's actually I think it's actually more. I think it's more affordable than that, actually. But yeah, I mean, Kopi Luwak coffee is pretty expensive. It's like those civets or whatever that eat them. I don't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
Cats or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Kopi Luwak or something. Yeah.
yeah, it's $50 for 2 ounces.
Damn.
So 2 pounds is like $660 for 2 pounds of Kopi Luwak.
Damn. That better be some good coffee.
I really would try it once for sure.
Yeah,
I don't care what it is. I mean, people are eating it. You know what I mean?
Came out
Like,
of a monkey's anus. How awesome could it be?
I know.
I don't really care. It's probably not going to be good, but you know what? Like most of the fruit and vegetables people eat have like dung on it. You know what I mean?
Dung.
What
Would you eat it? What's up, Claire? We're talking about Kopi Luwak coffee and aliens.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Mace is here, but he hasn't said anything.
Yeah, I think we're about to get ready for Dal to kick it off, I think.
I mean, aliens exist, so.
Can I ask what you think would be, how would you define if it's an alien or not?
Doesn't originate from this planet.
But I mean, like, we have different definitions of
extraterrestrial.
life. We have different definitions of life. For instance, we don't see a virus as alive, right? Because it's not composed of certain things. So
hold on.
What are
Kevin.
those compositions
Hold on,
we
Kevin.
require?
Hold on, Kevin. Before you start, this is something that Dal brought up initially. That I think he said he wanted to define what he thought it was. I might be wrong there. But he said we should come to a definition of what an alien first is before we go into the topic. So
Exactly. We have that already. We have a definition of life already. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I just want to put it on Dal since it's
So what
his.
if the alien don't fit those definitions?
Yeah,
Is what I'm saying.
That's what I was gonna say. If the alien is a machine, then it's not alien life.
No. Like, we don't see a virus as living because it's not composed of a cell, right?
IG.
And a membrane, and it doesn't have DNA. It has RNA. Now, what if the alien's composed of those things? You get what I'm saying? That we don't recognize is life here.
Maybe they wouldn't call it
Like
alien life.
invasion
They
of
would
the
just call it
body
alien
snatchers.
virus.
Yeah, you're talking
Call it a
alien.
virus, then.
What invasion of the
What
body
if the alien
snatchers?
views what we are composed of as not life, and what it's composed of as life? In opposite.
I guess we have a semantics definitional problem. Guess we'll have to fight about it.
But I
I
do
hope
want to
not.
say, I do want to say, just like I said it earlier, but right off the bat, the dictionary definition for alien, for relating to quote unquote extraterrestrials, it's relating to or denoting beings supposedly from other worlds, extraterrestrials.
Right.
So
Right.
it's specifically saying beings. So yeah, take that for what you will.
Human beings.
But we were talking about like life, though, right?
Well, they just
Looking
said
at-
aliens.
Well,
so.
yeah.
Forgive me, but what's the topic?
Aliens.
Aliens. Period. That's it. Just aliens.
But we have to
Maybe
identify.
To put my hair up.
We have to define life, though.
Your hair
think-
and your beard.
I think
Well,
to
just saying
say
aliens. It might even be the
192.
extraterrestrial
You
life is a much more
Maybe I'll do
specific
something.
term, and I
See if we
think it would be better used than aliens personally.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, Dal, do you want to kick it off with maybe like a specific question, a specific point to make that then everybody
How's
can
that?
then
That
go
good?
from there? Just to give direction to the discussion,
Right.
Dallas.
Alien biologists are conflicted with life. It says, nevertheless, most evolutionary biologists hold that because viruses are not alive, they are unworthy of serious consideration when trying to understand evolution. They also look on viruses as coming from host genes that somehow escaped the host and acquired a protein code. And on the other hand, No, they're evolutionary biologists that do consider viruses as alive.
I think that we're going to find alien life. I just don't think it'll be intelligent. I think that we're going to find stuff just in our solar system, or at least remnants.
So, yeah.
But
What's
I don't think it'll be
intelligent?
Intelligent is, I guess, that's a hard one of what we will define intelligence. But when it comes to intelligence, we typically like to see something multi-celled that has purpose. And then you also have, you also have, if I remember right, a species that can adapt nature to itself rather than adapt itself to nature or something like that, or what it means.
Yep.
So something can more adapt.
where-
It's more
exactly where
intelligent,
I
like
go.
the cockroach.
Nope. So basically, the idea of I think
Or
anybody
the
that looks at
coronavirus.
intelligence, you have the second part of what Grimm said, where it has that thing can have an effect on the environment around them. But I think the most important part of what we consider intelligence is that it's a quote unquote conscious decision to affect that around them. So, like a virus can affect those things around them. It's not necessarily making a conscious
What's a
decision
conscious
to create-
decision?
to create a fire, so we don't freeze to death in the winter.
Mhm.
But
That's
I mean,
you're
we
consciously
don't
making
have.
that
You're
decision.
you're saying there's choice, but everything is predetermined.
Yeah. See, you're
nothing's
going
choice.
like hold on. You're just going down a rabbit hole at that point. Dal,
Would you class orangutans as intelligent?
yes, I think orangutans have a certain amount of intelligence. Yes, absolutely.
What
Intelligent
about
life.
dogs?
Orangutans
But what's
can make and
intelligence,
use
though?
tools. Orangutans can make and use tools.
I mean, I
Same thing
think
with
you could
chimps.
say
Okay. If something
intelligent
can more
life pretty much
survive
goes
than
as
humans,
far
is
as
that more
bacteria.
intelligent?
What was that, Bruce?
I would just say intelligence means what we would say intelligent life is something that we can replicate, which would include I mean, I would be, as far as aliens go, I'd be inclined to accept bacteria as alien life.
Yeah.
I would accept a virus as a life.
Yeah. Some people argue that it is, and some people argue it's not.
Yeah,
I would accept
So
anything.
Like Nivek, I don't want to get into like a weird semantic argument on this.
We should.
I think no, we shouldn't. I think Dal had a bigger point that he was trying to make, and it wasn't about the semantic argument. He literally said, "This is his show that he's running tonight." He literally said he wanted to take care of things, so we're not dealing with the semantic argument, just getting trapped in a rabbit hole.
They were talking about like instead of semantics or philosophy around like words, they were more talking about like aliens and their implications, I guess, right? Is that what Dal was saying? Like what, like we're trying to get to the heart of what do aliens mean and how are you dealing with them? Right?
That's sort of, and that's why I'm a little bit disappointed he's not responding right now, because he's
Yeah,
the guy
maybe
with
he's
the
having
If
answers.
something could more adapt than the intelligent, is that therefore make it not more intelligent?
Yeah, like
Hey, Dal, are you there?
I am just dealing with something at the moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Well, why don't we just start off with, if we were to, let's let's not start with immigration, language implications of what an alien is. I know Mace, well, actually, first of all, just as a point of interest, Mace, why are you so dead set on the singular definition of what an alien is? I was watching your discourse in the chat. What triggered all that?
Because well, firstly, it's just not correct, and secondly, if you would say extraterrestrial life, then you're including anything that is alive and extraterrestrial, whereas the term alien is incorrectly used in pop culture to refer to specifically a spacefaring civilization similar to our own, and it's just not scientific or accurate.
But Mace, those are also alien to this planet.
They are, but they're
Bingo.
very specific. If you say alien in a colloquial sense, you're referring specifically just to hyper advanced civilizations. You're missing out on a lot of other likely options like bacteria and plant life.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless of that, they're still people call them. They've been colloquially determined to be alien if they are, beings regardless of their hyper intelligence that have come to visit here. I mean, we have the District 9 alien. We have like a whole different slew of aliens. The aliens that are discussed in Men in Black. These are still aliens to our planet.
Well, do you guys?
I think that's our interpretation of what an alien is. I don't want
another
interpretation.
Hang on.
Hold
Another
on,
issue
time,
with that
guys.
is that they don't become aliens until they come to our planet. If they're on their own planet, they're not aliens. They're
Well, yeah,
natives.
they would say the same thing about us.
Well, that's
So
What about-
that's
what about
another reason why
Floridians?
the term alien is incorrect.
What was that, Scott?
Yeah, but that is just a how we use that term in English. There's no true meaning of what this thing.
Right.
What we're
Words have
talking about.
usages,
Like,
not intrinsic
that's why
meaning.
that's why I'm saying, like, I don't want to get into like a semantic argument about what these specific words actually mean. Like, I don't think that's going to be.
So Scott, it's more just understanding the common usages. If Mace isn't able to come to a place where he can say, oh, okay, the common usage of the word is valid in a colloquial discussion about aliens, you're going to find yourself as the one guy outside of the conversation unable to engage in a conversation about the aliens as you described it in pop culture.
Yeah.
If we were to use the word alien as it is colloquially, does that include bacteria and plants, though?
Well, yeah, alien life.
does,
Alien life would be considered that. But again, like if someone else has a different usage, we can deal with that. But let's just make sure we understand the usage. So for the sake of this discussion, let's use the term as to mean. Let's talk about aliens from outside our system. So
Travis,
we can say an alien is anything that has DNA or RNA, right? So even if it's a virus from another planet that comes here, we could technically say it's an alien in this conversation.
No.
We don't define
define
life that way.
Nivik, we're accepting something for the sake of this discussion.
Exactly.
So don't get caught up of whether we're going to call it life or not.
Yeah, so this here isn't
why
a
I say that I believe
argument,
that's necessary?
But
hold on.
I take issue with that, not in a semantic sense, but in the sense that in order to presume life has to be DNA or RNA, you're basically assuming that life everywhere else in the universe must be the same as us.
I don't agree with what Scott's clarifying point there. It's just we don't have to worry about DNA, RNA, nothing. We're just talking
I don't want to see things through our perspective. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to see it through a history perspective.
Go ahead, Claire. Claire, bring some
things,
clarity to this room, please.
How we perceive things.
I'm about
to.
So I understand the problem with the usage of alien, because if they're on their own planet, then they technically aren't aliens. So why don't we use extraterrestrial, which literally means from outside of our Earth and atmosphere?
Yeah, but that argument applies to the term extraterrestrial for them as well, if they're on their own planet.
No, terrestrial means Earth.
To us,
terrestrial doesn't
they
mean
are
our own
outside
planet.
of our Earth, so we would call them extraterrestrial because they're outside
the Latin name for Earth is terra. Terrestrial meaning Earth.
Okay, outside our solar system, is that cool?
Yes, but it depends on how they're using the term. If they're like, if they're using. What? Go ahead.
What?
Beings outside our solar system.
I don't think you can say outside of our solar system, because they have found life on other planets inside of our solar system. I think they found a form of bacteria on Mars.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah. But that came from Earth anyway. We contaminated Mars with our own bacteria, so it doesn't really count.
Okay.
Well, this is sort of the thing that I like was trying to say. Like, I
Outside
didn't
our
want to
solar
get
system, okay? Is that
and,
cool?
I might have used this like specifically wrong terminology. I just didn't want to get caught into this cycle that we're in right now. Is sort of where I was going, of where it's
we're
yeah.
and we are in a bit of a feedback loop.
Yeah, the least interesting thing about this is
Yeah,
talking about
exactly.
how I think the term should be
Exactly.
used.
Exactly.
Either way, we discovered, I think what we discovered on Mars was what seemed to be an indentation of possible cells. But what's interesting is, and this is why I think it's better to look in our solar system when it comes to alien life, because it could lead to the thought of either Panspermia, which is life that comes through maybe the ice that has gone through our solar system and hopefully given us the water, or it's just a natural abundant thing. One of the things that we do know where life is created is at the bottom of our oceans, where there's, basically magma pouring out these heat vents, and we see life kind of being formed all the time, right? And so now we have this moon, I believe, of Saturn, called Europa, that has this ice sheet over it and has volcanic activity underneath. So they're trying to drop a drone over there, drill through the ice, and then go and see if there's life down there, because it looks like it could be
Jupiter.
Water. Super neat for us to look at those things. But I do believe that it's possibly just very common out there. The to get to intelligent life, like what we discover as intelligent life, which is either capable of us or capable of controlling its environment, I think is a rare thing. But hopefully we see it. Hopefully we can get to that stage where we can see it. Right now, as we look off into a galaxy, there could be aliens flying all over the fucking place. We would never be able to catch it just because we can't see that well, unfortunately.
What's interesting about Europa? What's the deepest mine in the world? 4.27 kilometers, right?
Yeah, it's something like no, I think it was like 10 miles. I think it was like 10 miles, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we've ever gotten 10 miles down.
Let's see, deepest mine.
But the ice sheet on Europa is anywhere from guesstimating 10 to 15 miles deep.
Oh shit!
That's
well, it's a lot easier than digging in dirt. I'll bet. So the problem is with the mines that we dig in the dirt, it just gets too hot to dig other.
Exactly.
Yep, you 4 kilometers.
Yeah, 4 kilometers. So
yeah,
4 kilometers is what, like, that's not even 5 miles, right?
Let me look it up. Travis, what's 4 kilometers in miles, you Canadian?
All right, I'm back.
All right, Dal, please go ahead and start with your opening arguments so we can focus on that.
Hold on, and I gotta do the alien thing.
All right.
The alien thing.
So did we define alien?
No, we did not.
Dal, can I say one thing?
How about you do this, Dal? How about you? Well, hold on. How about, for the sake of this discussion, Dal, you define what you think is an alien, and we all need to just go with that definition. So we're not going to argue about the specific definition. We're just going to.
Can I say just one quick thing?
Says.
In the movie Arrival and Annihilation, there are 2 sophisticated aliens. There's one where one was in a spaceship, and there's another one where it was just growing and taking over, and they couldn't stop it. It was spreading like a virus, and but either or, you have the spaceship one that can take over, and you have the one that was just spreading and taking over. But they're both alien.
Go. Hold on, Dal. Just go ahead and start your point, Dal, please.
Yeah, I guess when we're defining alien, I would specifically, at least for the beginning of this conversation, maybe we can trail off, but I would specifically be talking about the most utilized colloquial definition, which if you just say aliens ? To someone, they're going to think little green men, not people crossing the border illegally. If you say illegal, you'll get that side of the definition. So at least for right now, I think we should look at definition number 3 in the dictionary, which would be other beings, which is kind of vague. I don't know necessarily what constitutes a being, but I guess however we go about this, we're going to run into some vaguity or a circular definition. So I guess I would go. I like to go with intelligence. Maybe not maybe not intelligence, because then we're not talking about bacteria and viruses.
Plants.
And plants as well. Although you could say plants are.
Some sort of replicating thing, right? I think that's the most important thing. Like a rock can't replicate. Viruses can replicate. Humans can replicate. So I think replication might be the way we want to go. Anything that comes here that has the ability to replicate.
But I'd say I think I could. I have a few ways of getting around that, though. Like an as AI that doesn't have the ability to replicate, like just a lone built machine or some sort of machine that came together spontaneously or something that can't replicate, that could still be intelligent and alien to us in a kind of different way than evolved.
But there's replication there.
Something made it, but it's not self-replicating, and there's not necessarily another existing form of it.
What about a self-replicating AI machine?
Yeah, I mean, that would fit the definition that Scott put up, but I think
that. Yeah. I was going to say the self-replicating machines seem to violate some physics from what I'm hearing right now. So it's hard to even predict one of those.
See, here's the thing.
How would that violate physics?
We are self-replicating machines. So I don't think it's against physics at all.
Yeah, to self-replicate, you just have to take in a certain amount of matter to output another certain amount of matter. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Where it might get hard is getting something that can totally model itself completely if we build it out of, like, having a human that can completely understand his own biology completely might be impossible from what I understand.
Yeah.
So having a biological robot do that.
Well, you don't know, maybe something can self-replicate.
I'd like Dal. I have a question about this. I'd like to get people's take on if we did have ships arrive, bursting through our atmosphere, Independence Day style. How do you think if we want to break it up to kind of like the political lines, how we talk about political ideas, like how do you think the left of today would act, and how do you think the right of today would act? Would the right be
would shoot at it,
shooting their guns, and would the left be saying, "Come take me"?
Well, no, the left would want to communicate and figure out. The right would want to nuke it.
That's a really simplistic.
And it'll be a fight between nuking it and wait a minute.
That's really simplistic, because there's a lot of people on the right that Nivek is not joking. I promise you. And I think that, like, I know people who are on the right who are all about like aliens and stuff, and they came down, they'd be like, "Fuck yeah," but still they're politically right. Like, to try and say just because
there would be
politically right.
There would be the conservative approach. There would be the conservative approach and the liberal approach. The conservative approach would say, we'd like to conserve, so we're going to proceed with as much caution as possible. Assume that things are bad or good, as depending. Let's be prepared. And the left would say, let's approach with an openness to the experience, but we'd also want to make sure that we're sensitive to the fact that they may or may not be, like us, and that's okay. So you'd have both of them coming to the table, and there would be an effort that would say, all right, keep the planes nearby with the guns and the nukes on them, and then we're going to go talk to them.
Approach.
So then we're going to go talk to them, okay? So the conservatives are ready and armed with planes and guns and nukes, and your diplomatic types are on the ship on the way to talk to them, with an escort. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You have
Conservatives
a
assume it means
rational
have bad
conversation.
intentions, and people who don't think it has bad intentions are naive idiots. That's what conservatives would think.
That's ridiculous. Are you for real?
I mean, dude, like you just paint these like such broad stroke black and white prescriptions, man. It's like, goddamn, dude. Like,
Dal, you were trying to get in there.
I guess I forgot what I was originally going to say, but yeah, Nivik, remember that there's like this is a spectrum we're talking about here. So you have like the far right, the mid right. You have like evangelical.
So I just want you guys to imagine, like
religious. Because there's evangelical leftists too, by the way.
Well, let's you guys try to imagine in like Congress or at the Senate level, if this was actually happening, you had these ships arrive and they don't seem to be doing anything. They're just kind of hanging out there. What are some things you think that would be disagreed on in those conversations?
Oh well, a lot of people
I do not think a military buildup to prevent any sort of like negative impact would be disagreed upon by either side.
Right.
Both sides like, okay, let's go ahead.
And the thing I want you, the thing I'm interested in what you guys think is where would there be disagreement?
Yeah,
I think the disagreement would be whether or not to proceed in making first contact. So the disagreement would be: do we attempt to make first communication, or do we sit and wait? Yeah. That would be the disagreement.
Also, who gets to make the first contacts would be a sticking point.
Wouldn't that be a possible sign of aggression? The first move by the alien.
No.
And the alien would
showing up and hovering is the first sign of aggression.
Yeah, I think
engagement is the first sign of aggression.
Yeah,
first off,
sense is a little weird.
Find out if they're religious or not, and then we'd find out if we were fucked.
Well, if you think about hang on a second. So if we take the Independence Day approach, they were not interested in any sort of peace. Okay, so they were hovering and they made first contact and they fired. They didn't fire, but they were never in any sort of situation where they wanted to be peaceful. So in Independence Day, they were just preparing.
So
they broke.
Too bad
but
they did send that retarded looking helicopter up there with the light show.
Yeah,
they sent that helicopter up there with the light show. Maybe that triggered the war.
Dude.
The whole movie was like aliens coming to America. Not today, aliens. America, yeah.
Well, the best part was they tried to study it. They tried to study it, and then they used telepathy to tell him, "We're not interested in peace. We just want you to die." Right. And then he showed him in his with telepathy all the things that they would do, and he said they're like cockroaches. They invade planets and they take over. So there was no sort of situation there that was ever going to turn out well, and so the United States was totally justified, and the world at large was justified in assuming aggression, and it was confirmed. Now in Arrival, that was a different story.
When I do want to say, taking this away from specifically mentioning it to things we know before. So say if you had any sort of life form had the ability to travel to other planets, do you think they would not also have the ability to mine comets and everything along their way to get plenty of resources? Like the galaxy is resource rich.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, you can get everything you want anywhere.
Dude,
so to me, I think
the capitalist in me would be like, hey, we need to trade, bro. We need to start getting on the trade wagon.
What
exactly?
I mean,
because we're watching a movie interpretation, but in reality, it wouldn't be that way. The aliens wouldn't have to invade us for our resources.
Exactly,
they're here for a reason, Mace. They, they're hanging out, so it's possible trade's an option.
I mean,
if they knew why would they be here
today. I've got a feeling that they would have a lot more and better things than us. So it'd be like us trading with a tribe in Amazon. What would be the point? They can't offer
possibly ants, possibly monkeys.
Don't underestimate. We would totally trade with Amazon people. We want their cultural artifacts, and we love researching them, and we love interacting.
There also have been medical breakthroughs that came through all medicine comes from plant or animals. Like studying plants or animals. So like,
Okay,
we-
yeah.
we-
So I
yes,
suppose we
uh,
could collaborate on scientific research. I
absolutely.
suppose.
I mean,
Yeah.
What if it's
you-
what if it's like a predator situation? It's like a lone predator using their game, and so it's like we're just fun for them, right?
man.
It's like I'm just here to hunt, motherfucker.
Yeah, I think
We're
by the
just-
time I think by the time you traverse the universe, you come over here and you're like, why would I trade with you? You're like, because we can solve cancer and understand English. Or like, yeah, you have a long way to go. I don't know what to say right now. Like, it's just not worth my time, right? Like, we can do this with monkeys, but
That's
I mean,
assuming
I
they're
think
like
that'd be the
us.
equivalent.
That's assuming they're like us. You know what
That's
I
what I'm
mean?
saying. They're not going to be like us. They're definitely not going to
Right.
be
So
like
they may not
Give
even
two
have
shits.
these sorts of
care.
they may not have these sorts of hang-ups. You know what I'm saying?
When
Yeah.
When they could
Yeah,
they could be
that's true.
silicon-based
That's a
life
good
forms,
point.
and they like come into our atmosphere, and then be like, oh no, we can't live here, and they just leave again.
yeah,
That kind of
maybe
thing could
they
happen too.
can
Like
terraform.
who fucking knows? Like
Maybe they're just like maybe they read the story of Kal-El and Krypton, and they're like, we got to find a planet where we become Supermen. And so we're trying to find the right planet, like we're trying to find the Goldilocks
Exactly.
planet, so that we don't burn up, but we have superhuman powers. And they're all just like going around and like, try this planet, nah, it didn't work, and they're just gonna keep trying planets until they become superhumans from the sun. Like
No,
they're
that-
really into that.
saying that they know
also
the
think
story of
about
Stephen
also
Man
think
is
about like
actually-
the way more pedestrian idea of like, say there is a spaceship in space and they're just traveling through, and you got like this one like a guy who's sort of like Art Bell on the spaceship, and he's all into like conspiracy theories and all this kind of stuff, and all of a sudden he gets like a broadcast of radio signals, and he sees Superman, and like and he takes it to people and like, holy fucking shit, guys, we got to go check this out.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
right.
there's so many possible options.
So we're assuming that, the initial question is like, we're assuming the Independence Day scenario is happening, and there is a hovering craft covering most of the mass of the United States, right? That's somewhere around that size. What do we do? And is it? And I still think that we arm up and attempt protection, and then attempt first contact.
So we need.
Dude, what I'd say the perfect thing to do at that point is go get yourself some booze, get a yard chair, and fucking sit back. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and you might as well
happen.
enjoy
What are you talking
it.
about, people? Yeah.
Yeah.
But policy-wise, that's what they're going to do. Policy-wise, they're going to do that.
I think
you have two schools of thought. First off, you're not going to be able to understand how like the mentality of an alien species, and then number two, even if you did maybe we were right in some case, the only conclusion that I can come to is why the fuck would they give a shit about us? Why?
I'm assuming they do.
Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. They might mean well, they might not. They might want to show humans how the universe is and teach, and advance them, because their ideology, way of thinking, they think they want to spread that. So they want to promote that type of thinking throughout the galaxy. So.
Yeah, this is also sort of why I brought up the book Childhood's End, like right at the beginning. I don't know if you guys weren't here yet, but Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke is basically the story of aliens that come down to Earth, and all the aliens look exactly like the devil, the same way the devil is portrayed in like the Bible. But these aliens aren't here to like destroy everybody. What they're here for is it's a race of aliens that find planets and life forms that are about to be destroyed by like the sun blowing up or whatever is going on, and they rescue them. They save these genes, and that's what they do all throughout the galaxy. So could there also be that kind of alien too? There could possibly be that kind of alien that's just like
that was Arrival.
Want to do. No, that's not Arrival. That's called Childhood's End.
No, I'm saying that's kind of how Arrival was. They kind of wanted to alien democratize other beings, and they gave them their view of perception of knowing how to see the future.
That's the same story. Yep.
To bring it back to what Grim was saying, I don't think it necessarily matters if the aliens are interested in us or not, especially for the scenario, because there's fiction out there where The aliens don't realize we're alive and we're conscious, where they're just based off of.
Huh?
We lost Alsu.
Oh, sorry, my fat thumbs. They might operate at some different time scale and just not perceive us as truly alive, and they could invade our planet without realizing they're invading a place with life on it.
So wait, you're saying like because we're so stupid, they're like these aren't even intelligent creatures. Why are we?
It
Like,
means like how
we're
some of us
assuming-
don't classify viruses as alive, they might not classify us as alive. Is that what you're saying?
Mm.
Yeah, closer to that one. Like they could be some silicate life form, or we could get real crazy and say they're made out of dark matter or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And they just don't recognize us as different from the rocks that are having.
They could even be made of crystals.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
There are two
Carry them in our
potentials. One
pocket.
is they don't mean harm, and the other is they might potentially mean harm. And you have to differentiate which
No,
would it be.
what I'm bringing up right now, Nivik, is the third option, where they don't even know we're here and they're harming us.
I got you.
Yeah, and they could be operating on a time frequency that they don't even see us moving because their whole lifespan goes by.
Have you seen have you seen some of these SJWs on the street in Seattle? I think they're aliens, bro. Look at these.
So like how we mine dirt, so like how we see dirt, we don't acknowledge it. They'll just see us the same way.
Yeah, people for a very long time didn't see trees as alive because they don't move around and talk.
Yeah, there's a very small window of things that we can recognize
I
whether
have the
they're
same
alive
view
or not.
of trees, by the way. I
But
don't
they're
know why
alive?
people don't acknowledge them as alive. We always talk about like not eating life. Not eating meat. And I'm thinking like, what the hell is a plant? I'm always thinking that.
Same.
I don't like it when people say that. Why are you killing defenseless animals? And it's like, how is a plant more defensible than an animal?
The plants just have a slow roll, and they actually have quite the plants actually have
They have quite the defenses, yeah.
Which is actually a big problem with allergies, food allergies, and other sorts of issues that people have, like in animals. They've adapted themselves to not be eaten. That's why they're bitter. They need to be cooked and sautéed and everything else.
Before we hit vegans, I'm gonna say, what about
aliens could be vegan?
Like the aliens could be a fungus or something spreading through space.
That's annihilation.
That's what I was thinking of. Is that we have space rocks that hit us all the time, literally almost every day.
Maybe we're aliens.
It's kind of crazy. Like, and when we can prove that tardigrades live out in space, so what's to say that some planet explodes somewhere and it's got a little bit of life on it and lands on this planet and just integrates with us? We're like, oh, we discovered a new virus today. Like, we have no proof of whether that virus actually came from Earth or not, right? We can kind of say where it came from or whatever, but it's just hard to say. Maybe tardigrades came from space because we know they can live in space. So maybe they came here on some, asteroid that we just didn't know, and that's just what's up. Like, it's crazy to understand. Like, see,
couldn't that happen with us?
Yeah. Well, there is panspermia, right? Like, that's what I'm talking. That's a abiogenesis theory, is that maybe life evolved somewhere else and then it landed here, with the ice sheets that came through what they predict came through our solar system, which is what created a lot of the water that we have. And maybe life in some form, was there and then evolved slowly on Earth. Like, it's just made to evolve. But when you're on these other planets, it's not habitable enough for it to evolve. But then you also have the other side where you can see life being formed, at our volcanic vents, in the deepest parts of the water, like the Mariana Trench. So it is quite interesting. And I think when you add something like huge amounts of pressure and heat, and you get just this random concoctions of chemicals on a second by second basis, I think yeah, maybe life pops out of one of those, and maybe something weirder pops out tomorrow. Like, you get randomness. I think Brett Weinstein put it best, is that the universe is made of just randomness. It's just complete chaos creating order, but it's so unpredictable, right? It's just things smashing and breaking and pressure and explosions, and it's just imagine what it'll make tomorrow. They found a fucking orc cloud that's made of pretty much beer out there. Like pretty much just beer. A fucking orc cloud that's bigger than our solar system that's made of what they presume to just be alcohol. That's crazy.
Yeah, raspberry vodka.
Wait, did you say the cloud was made of beer?
No, not beer, but it's alcohol. They said
Wheat, barley, hops, and water. Okay,
yeah,
alcohol and water. Okay, no, I believe it is an alcohol cloud. I believe that.
Yeah,
but if it was beer, that would be spectacular.
If it was branded beer, that would be amazing.
It's called Heaven, by the way.
You remember the beer fart? It's an alcohol cloud.
It's called W3, and it's 6,500 light years away. It looks like a cloud of alcohol, basically. It's huge.
So you're saying
methyl
I can
alcohol.
get there in only 6,500 years?
Ethyl alcohol?
6,500 light years. So travel speed of light.
Yeah,
methyl.
okay.
Yeah, methyl alcohol.
That'll make you blind. You don't want to drink that.
Yeah, don't drink that.
Well, drink a little bit, just not a lot. So, but there's another one they said of ethyl alcohol.
Ethyl. Yeah, that's what you drink.
Yeah, that's the one. That's a good one.
There's one made of ethyl too.
All right, that's
yeah,
the
near
beer.
the constellation of Coolio.
That's God's beer farts, bro.
It's in the constellation of Coolio. Is that what you said?
Some aliens are like, check out this homebrew, bitch.
They're like brewing the clouds, like we brew in like a tub. They're brewing in the
They're
clouds.
just so advanced.
Look at those microbrew.
My man's living in 5051, bro. He's brewing in the clouds.
It's clean out there.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of have the scenario of what might happen already on Earth, where the aliens would either colonize or promote its democracy.
Why would they colonize?
I think they would take over our political system and, be like, maybe take the name like Pelosi or Schumer, maybe
Here's
something
our
of that
values.
nature. That's my
This
guess.
is the way you should be doing things, and
No, serious
enlighten
question,
us.
though. How does it benefit them to colonize an already inhabited planet?
Because its values that it has, it wants that to be promoted throughout. I'm just saying the example of how things are now, where, on Earth, where there was a colonized route and there was a promotion of democracy and values. So the aliens might not be interested in just blowing up, and they might.
Yes, so I was going to say there's the worst case scenario, which
That's what I'm
which
saying.
they
That's
say,
what I'm saying.
So, but they say it won't be a visit the way that you might think. So it doesn't take a ship to do it. It literally takes a microscopic machine that has the ability to duplicate and has the ability to break things down to its basic constructs, to where everything on the planet basically is just broken down to its basic molecules, and then a ship can come by and pick everything up and take off. So humans will be broken down to the basics, plants, all life will be broken down to its basics. The ship can show up, take everything, and bounce. There might not even be a single alien that lands on the planet, and it's decimated life on this whole planet.
But I mean, like with the
altogether, just from
colonization,
machines.
you can use them to use people to put things together and put parts together.
Well, and then there's
build.
slave labor.
That's
right,
what I'm
which is this
saying.
huge. That's the ancient aliens. Like, do they come? So
There's two
here's the
scenarios.
weirdest-
There's one
here's-
of promoting their values, and there's one of enslavement.
So here's the weirdest.
I
here's
think
the
those
weirdest
two are
alien.
very unlikely because there's
Here's
little benefit to the extraterrestrials.
I'm gonna say something.
I can imagine
I'm gonna
some.
say something that's really weird. It's really weird that nobody that is. I know it's weird, but there's a lot of people that believe in this, but has some science backup. I in no way promote this theory. I don't think it's a theory. I think it's the best of a guess as possible, but it is weird. So there's a large group of people, in fact, they're the ancient aliens people and all that, believe that possibly aliens visited us and made us who we are, basically made us into these Homo sapiens from the animals, and used us as slave labor to Yeah, I think these people are called like the Enuks or Anoks or whatever, Anakians,
You're
and they
talking
made us into
Stargate.
slave labor. Right, kind of like that, right? And then they said that they come by from a planet, like this was predicted a long time ago. They come from a larger planet that visits our planet every like 12,000 years or so. Now, imagine that, right? That's been put in like texts and weird stuff, and people are like, oh, they're just fucking crazy or whatever. They recently discovered a planet they recently discovered gravity that could be a planet that loops by our planet every 12,000 years, that is larger, that is in a weird elliptical. It's just a theory that this could be a planet that is basically what is causing our sun to kind of bend at an odd angle to go swirling around the Milky Way. And this planet explains the physics of why our sun is kind of bent a little bit, is this planet that's orbiting in this 12,000 year cycle that's looping by. And it blew my fucking mind. Blew my mind. I'm like, that's not fucking real. That's not fucking real. And then obviously you gotta, precept that there's fucking, aliens on this planet and they're coming by and they're coming back to subjugate us again. And oh fuck, But it is a crazy theory that actually scientifically makes sense. It's weird. It's the weirdest
You can farm. You can farm.
I can think of lots
You can
of
farm
issues
them
with
and breed them to build sophisticated technology, in utilizing them in slave labor.
Why is a
Or you
slave
could-
better than a robot?
Yeah, exactly. Why not just build something that's not gonna think that it's free? You could build like a factory that makes technology instead of a sentient person that's gonna be like, no, fuck you.
Well, that's a good point there.
Because robots don't fuck like we fuck.
I guess they'd want our problem. Maybe they want us genetic. Maybe they want our DNA, us genetically. Then, since they don't need us as because they're robots.
The aliens just want to have sex with us. That's why we made it.
Even a robot could be designed to do that better.
Oh,
Aliens try, but then they said, "Have you seen a 3-year-old human child? Fuck that noise."
They poop a lot.
But the aliens do things in a way where they create technology and they promote their values, right? So they can do the same with they can do the same thing with humans. They can say, okay, we're like this, so you're going to be like that too, because they want that to be promoted throughout.
You're assuming that they're emotional.
Yeah, they could.
I'm saying what they do is
Well
what
said.
they want done, because that's what's done now. You know what I mean? We promote our values around the world, in saying, you see these values as universal, and you teach other.
I agree that is a possibility, but I don't think it's likely that any advanced civilization would spend the resources and time traveling across the universe just to make some random people they've never met agree with them on something.
We can imagine aliens.
They're not gonna cross it just for that.
Do you think humans would ever spend all that money and time traveling to another planet just to make them abide by our cultural rules?
Why not? You want what you are to be promoted. You want it to flourish.
Mace, you are that they have the same limits that we do. They might be able to, warp space.
That is done now. We modernize. We people like the U.S. goes to other countries and they try to promote their values of democracy.
Yeah, that's because it's in their interest.
That's why I say there's two scenarios. One would be the colonial type of alien where they're just using you, but that's a good argument where they don't.
They're not the only two scenarios. They're two of the least likely ones because you can't demonstrate how that would be in the alien's self-interest.
Because they have robots.
The only reason aliens would come here would be because it's in their interest. And you haven't come up with a reason why they'd be interested in that.
You just said that
robots are better than slaves, so that's pointless.
Nivik, I want to help.
No, they want to promote their values throughout the galaxy. That's my reason. That is already done. It's done on this planet.
We don't need to go there.
Yeah, like alien Mormons.
Okay, I suppose if they're religious, that could be a thing. But yeah, it's unlikely though, because you've got to assume that they're political and emotional.
Talking politics.
Have you guys
Saying they want to
There's this analogy that essentially humanity is sitting in a dark forest, and we don't know what other kinds of creatures are out there. We've never
Humans
met.
are aliens too, man, and we do the same things we do. Other aliens could possibly do the same as well, just like how we move.
It's a possibility, but you have to understand how expensive it is to move across space. It has
Only
to
because
benefit
of our
them in some
situation.
way.
It's only expensive because of our situation, maybe not theirs. I will say though that the technology.
It's safe to assume it would cost at least a lot of time, if not resources, too.
Well, the technology they would have to possess to make it
So
to the
why not
asteroid
do
belt
both?
would
Why can't
convince
you do
me that
both?
they would. The technology that they would have to possess to make it through the asteroid belt would convince me that the energy required to do such space travel would be minimal for that sort of alien civilization.
But if you're using minimal energy, then you can't be traveling anywhere near light speed, so you're using a lot of time.
What makes you think it's just to visit people? They're here. They could be they could be about doing other things too. They just come across they could be doing both of mining, the solar system or whatever. But I mean, like, if people are here, why not just do that?
No
because
debate there. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the ideas we have about energy, time, and effort may not apply, and they probably wouldn't.
So you think they can travel faster than light, and that's a likelihood?
I would think it's a likelihood that the technology that they would possess to travel the way that they do would likely be more on the less effort, working smarter, not harder
Do
idea.
you think it's likely that they will be able to travel faster than light with minimal effort?
Yeah, I think they would bend space-time to their will would be the more likely way to do it.
And so you think that's likely?
I mean, we're talking about aliens here, man. I don't know what's likely. Likely,
aliens,
no.
man. Aliens.
So,
I mean, they either have to be old enough to make it across the galaxy, or they have to have a way to.
By the way,
I think it's likely to go from one part of the galaxy to another. You have to spend either a lot of energy or a lot of time. You can't get out of one of those transactions.
Maybe
is there any value in our solar system? Is there any value in our solar system?
I'm sure there's value in anything that someone sees value in. Value is an inherent, subjective thing.
I'm just saying, if they come to our solar system, I seeing us wouldn't be a trip.
Maybe it depends.
I mean, if you can, if you can travel a galaxy, if you can travel across space to our star, I mean, a couple million miles ain't shit.
We assume
aliens.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Aliens ain't shit.
Just imagine Ice-T saying that.
Miles. We're talking about light.
These aliens ain't shit. The Ice-T, like this.
Yeah.
Man, these aliens
Rick and
ain't
Morty.
shit.
I'm
next month. Yeah, next month. next motherfucker say something's getting shot. Please believe that. Please.
Shit. Let me just be funny. That's such a redneck thing. Alien show. Yeah, Dallas. Yeah, no. I got you.
Oh, I am here.
What Dallas? Yeah, you're
I
there.
can hear you. It's just a little broken up. It's a little
All right,
lo-fi sounding.
My good mic, I guess, died.
It's a shame, dude.
Poor Mike.
What if aliens are traveling in a different dimension than us? Like, we have our 3 dimensions,
How did
they have 3 other ones, and they happen to cross us all the time, and just only for a flash of a second.
That's a ghost theory. So people are like, oh, why do we see ghosts, or why do we have these things? It's because, well, if things are moving in the 5th dimension, like 5th dimensional creatures, then they would perceive like things are kind of coming in and out, and it's really weird. And so your mind is actually, Michio Kaku spoke on this on his second book, and he said that your mind would perceive it to be human-like and maybe like a ghost, but it's only because you don't physically, your brain is not capable of understanding a 5th dimensional creature. because we see in 3D, and that's how our brain works. Is that if you saw a fifth dimensional creature, your mind literally couldn't understand it. It just wouldn't make sense to you. So it would just
It would have to
weird
be in
type
at
of
least
thing.
one of our. It would have to
think
be in at
four
least one of
dimensions?
our dimensions.
You think other dimensions exist?
Yeah, provably other dimensions exist. Not that I
They
think,
might
it's
not
that we've
be
been able to prove it.
What's the
that
proof
could make,
of that?
that could make
What's
for
four
some-
dimensions?
4 dimensions is the expansion of time.
That's a theory. You can't prove that.
So time, what do you mean? Time is the fourth dimension?
Theory is proof. Theory is proof. So I know what you say.
Okay, it's an idea then.
It's
it's a theory.
Time. Is time the fourth
What's the
dimension
evidence
or
for
something
it?
else?
Time is part of the fourth and what they also call the fifth dimension because time moves forward and it has a past. So it's moving forward.
All
Basically, as
dimensions
time
go in two
expands.
directions.
Yeah. So
it's one
Weinstein puts it best. 3-dimensional scape and then like landscape, and then as it expands, that's the fourth/fifth dimension. And so when you do something like 10-dimensional hyper space, right? Then you have to go. To the
I can't
fourth
wrap my head
dimension.
around 4. Don't go to 10.
What's the evidence for that?
I had to read books to figure it out.
I get what you're saying. I just don't understand. Like, it does sound like an idea. How is it provable?
You know the tesseract, the hypercube. It's a cube with a small one in the middle and a big one on the big one.
Yeah.
It's a big cube with a small cube in the middle. Yeah, that's what
it's a cube inside
is.
of it. It's a cube inside of circles, actually. Circles that make a cube.
Yeah, that's essentially an image.
No, man, it's not a circle. It's a cube inside a cube.
Fourth-dimensional object. So it's there. It's a 3-dimensional object. This cube inside of a cube, but they push the smaller cube out one of the faces of the bigger cube and shrink the big cube down and put it through the back face. That's essentially what a 4th-dimensional hypercube would look like passing through our 3-dimensional space-time.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay. So you know what I thought? So I know what I thought that meant. I thought that a 3D would be like what you see around you in 3-dimensional, in what you interact with in real time. And I thought what 4D was the paradigm outside of you that has a cause and effect reaction beyond your senses that controls what is going to happen, because everything is cause and effect. And there's no. There's cause and effect.
Do you think causality changes directions depending on what dimension you're traveling in? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying like a paradigm is your environment that's beyond your senses that you're in. It controls what you're going to do. It's kind of like if you're in the middle of an ocean, the paradigm would be ocean currents happening around you and taking you to one place whether you want to or not. It's just your future.
Well,
it dictates your future.
Dimension in mathematics and physics is a pretty complicated thing because it's got essentially
so your paradigm is
5
the 4th dimension.
different. Yeah. The paradigm would be like hyper time essentially. So
that's what I'm saying. It's like the large cube on the outside is moving the small cube. You get what I'm saying? It's having an effect on the small cube.
Well, no, that's not really what. So you imagine it like this. Imagine the 4th dimension. I'm in the 4th dimension. So when I look at you, Nivik, I can see you in each and every moment through time that you've ever existed. I can see you as a little kid, and I can see you as an old man after you die.
Yeah,
and not only that, if I was to interact with you, I could basically stand and walk around you through time without you ever seeing me, and then pick something to interact with if I could.
Arrival was supposed to be the aliens are 4th dimensional in their thinking, and they saw the end of something that's going to happen from the beginning. You get what I'm saying? So when something happens in the beginning, they're seeing the end of. They're seeing it to fruition, to the point of So like if you're gonna see that's like if they'd
That's
watch
fourth
a
dimension.
war, they would see the end of the war. They
took
see
that idea from string theory, I believe. That's
So let me.
she just did
so
it.
so that
Yeah,
woman thinks in reverse.
that's actually exactly.
She sees
So,
the
but let me
ends
be
of
clear.
the
Let me be
outcome.
clear. Let me make sure we have terms here. We're not talking when you say something like a tesseract, and we're talking about dimensions. That's different than dimensions of first, third, first, second, third, and fourth and fifth dimension when it comes to like reality and like space-time expansion, as compared to like the dimensions of a cube, right? So those are a little different. So just want to make sure we have clarity. Like those things are synonymous and related, but they are two different terms that we're talking about. Does that make sense?
Like dimension in mathematics, like if you were making a mathematical model of the senses of a human, you would call each individual sense a dimension of the sense landscape of the human. So just because like the word dimension in science fiction tends to mean like another universe or something very similar to ours, but in math it can literally be something equivalent to, it has a little extra spin that doesn't work if we're looking at a three, like if we spin a ball, it doesn't spin the same way as this thing. So we're going to say there's another dimension that allows it to spin a little extra that we can't see. It's almost like a tool.
Okay. So in the movie, that woman, she adapted the alien's viewpoint of fourth dimension. You can see the end of what is going to happen in an outcome of something. So like when it first started off, she was seeing the end of things and she wasn't understanding. She was seeing the end of the beginning. And at the end of the movie, she figured it out, and she knew that she was going to like what she saw what would happen with cause and effect of the future. So she ended up communicating with the general who would cause the war, and told him something that was close to him, like his wife's dying words. And she ended up having him call off the strike of attacking the aliens and stopping intergalactic war. So I'd say that's fourth dimensional, right?
That's like, I mean, it's science fiction depth because it's like a thought process. Like I think there's even a Rick and Morty episode where there's like a religion that can make you like exist in a different state of being or something crazy. But it sounds something closer to that, where it's like you can, if you learn how to think this way, you can become a fourth dimensional entity, and that's not really how any of this works. In fact, it's probably impossible to even have something we would consider a being in most any of these dimensions, because some of them don't have causality, Nivik. Like some of them, there's not a sense of time at all. There's no cause and effect.
Time perspective, right? Because what is the beginning, middle, and the end, unless it's from a perspective? Because everything simultaneously could be looked at as a past, present, and future. So it depends on whatever result, whatever action you're looking at. You wanna like, if you wanna see the beginning, like a cooking of an egg, you see that the egg is going to be cooked and it's going to be burnt because at the end, because you're not going to do anything, you're not going to touch it. So you're seeing the past of
past is fifth dimension, future is fourth, if I understand it right.
I remember
current.
The past dictates the
that
future.
doesn't work though, because dimensions have two directions. So time itself would be one dimension, whether you're going forward or backwards.
No, time moves forward. We don't know if it moves backwards. It moves forward, so the fifth dimension is behind it. Fifth dimension is the past. Right? So as time
how do you determine
moves
what's
forward,
the past?
Time expanding of our universe.
Your
is the fourth dimension.
You're
the
assuming
fourth dimension.
you're assuming that dimensions are moving as opposed to us moving through them. The reason
No, it's
time moves forward could be that actually we are just moving forward through time, and time is completely still.
Yeah, I'm with, kinda
That's
with Mason.
possible, but right now the scientific consensus is that that fifth dimension is our past, and the
No,
fourth
that's
dimension is
not
the current.
consensus.
I don't think
I'm
that.
pretty
So what's
sure
the
that the
past?
consensus is more skeptical than that.
All right,
No,
I'll try to
there is no consensus.
post
on
it,
that.
I guess. But the point is, and then our current is fourth dimension, which is the expansion of our universe of space time. Expansion all around us. It's expanding
My
all around us.
understanding is you would have a one-dimensional object, which would be a dot, and then you'd have a two-dimensional, which would be a line, and then then a three-dimensional, which would be, it would be a cube because a line would have width. So
No, a line is
zero
one-dimensional.
dimensional dot, no?
would be
You
a
guys,
cube.
let's simplify this because
Aliens.
this is all known stuff. So there's three dimensions of X, Y, Z. Fourth dimension is time, and then after that, the things that are theorized go all the way up. If you look at a simple dimension chart of what things like string theory predict, you get eventually to 11-dimensional hyperspace. But just when we're talking about the 4 dimensions, X plane, flat plane, Y plane, high plane, Z gives it depth, so that's in 3 dimensions, and then time is the theorized 4th dimension if you were going to look at time as a dimension in itself. But and also to simplify this, in physics, time is simply just change. That's all time is. It's just change. It's a measurement of change. So let's just simplify the conversation by simplifying these terms and understanding that, when we get into conversations like this, it's sometimes best to just do a quick search and pull up the actual information.
Well, there's several different ways we can look at dimensions, and like there's the string theory type of way, and then there's a mini worlds, like alternate dimension sort of way. And when we kind of like since we use the same term, we can easily conflate like the idea of a spatial dimension with an actual extra space that's exactly like ours with time. And both theories suggest that sort of thing is possible. And even like some of the weirder, more geometric theories say that sort of thing is possible. But there's definitely an intermix between the weird types of dimensions and like all that.
I'm going to post in the physics tab, guys, an understanding the 11 dimensions of reality graph, just so you guys can see a visualization of what's understood from a physical perspective.
If we use so there's this model, I can't really find it right now, but there's this model, and I think it was of the quantum mechanical idea of dimensions, which is essentially infinite. There's infinite alternate realities. And in that one, it had the idea of like you had the 4 dimensions where you have time and space, essentially. And then the 5th dimension would be like this line of universes in a succession where you could travel maybe to the future and past.
Yeah.
And then the 6th dimension was like added another line on this cross section where now you could go like side to side in this universal space.
You can go side to side from the 3-dimensional space, which includes multi movement. So if you look at the chart I just posted in the physics tab,
that was Einstein's postulation, which is why it was created in the first place. It's because it had to have something relative to the planets moving and anything moving through space-time. And so he postulated for a 4th dimension of time. That's, if I remember right, that's kind of where it came from, was Einstein. It's kind of cool.
So, what do you think the odds are on extra-dimensional aliens, and how likely are they to visit us?
Shit, we're not likely on
If
just
this-
aliens in general. Fuck, now we're talking about
It would be
different types.
a lot harder to cross
Exactly,
our
man.
path. It would be a lot harder to cross our path if they were traveling.
I mean, if, like, I had this high thought one time, I later learned more and discovered that that's not exactly how it works. But, like, anti-de Sitter space, the idea of that would essentially be, at the end of time, the universe, like, reverses and creates an alternate, like, space, but there's no actual space. And time goes backwards, and it's kind of this weird place. And I liked the idea that there could be, like, I think it was Arrival, that movie, where there could be aliens that are moving backwards through time, but they're essentially made out of the same matter as us, and maybe they figured out what we're up to, even though we can't see them. I always thought that was one of the cooler ideas. And dark matter aliens is always a good one. Hear a lot of those guys.
Yeah, the aliens perceive time and Arrival different. They already see what's going to happen at the end, so they see the end of something, of an event. So it's they kind of
Arrival had a pretty big hole in it.
What's that?
I just watched that yesterday. The freaking aliens let themselves get blown up by the bomb from that
yeah, but some things you can't avoid.
I don't know about that.
Like the daughter dying too. You know, like that couldn't be avoided. But she decided to keep the daughter. That was another example of death in the movie. But she had the daughter anyway, and the husband was pissed.
Yeah, time travel movies are almost always.
Yeah, it's hard to put drama in if somebody can actually see all the events, future and present.
I mean, Marty McFly cannot have sex with his mom. Let's just be clear on that. So that's just not okay, and it's definitely going to eliminate him.
He can't get it up.
We know that.
Mom.
That's just standard because you'll disappear. So we know that. So Back to the Future time travel does work.
Hey, they predicted.
You had to. The decisions had to be made in that movie, though.
In the 2000s. Telling you, man, Back to the Future. They went there.
I like that Family Guy. Marty, what is it, Doc? Your kids, the black. Come on, we gotta go. He's like, I'm actually okay with that. Oh, you are? He's like, oh, like I don't think we should be hanging out anymore. Find out because he's he's from the 50s, man. He's racist.
So, aliens, bro.
Aliens.
I'm thinking, what if they don't arrive here? What if we detect an alien techno signature? Let's not even say a wow signal again. Let's say we detect CFCs in the atmosphere of a planet nearby, and so we know that someone's running an air conditioner on Alpha Centauri. How do you think that will shake up life on Earth?
Is that how we detect air conditioners on Alpha Centauri? Is we get the spectral signature of CFCs and we're like, oh, someone's got an air conditioner up there.
Yep, that's how we discover life. Now what?
Oh shit, dude, that's awesome. That's fucking
have
brilliant.
To colonize it now.
Well, we have to send Mormons there to make sure that they, have a chance to get into heaven.
I mean, the Mormon afterlife, you get your own planet. So what if?
I know, right?
Oh, so that's all Mormons up there, maybe?
Yeah, they all get Alpha Centauri B.
Maybe.
They share one planet.
So what's your question? Do we have to colonize them?
I guess
is that your question?
It's more like, what do you think the reaction of everyday people would be if we found alien life in this innocuous
I
way?
think people would be like, I'm going to go meet these people.
I'm going to try to have sex with one. That's what somebody's going to say.
Oh, yeah. The
I'd
first
really
one
like
to
that.
get laid by an alien wins.
What are you talking about, dude? We've been getting probes since the 70s. What?
So if we actually discover sentient life on another planet that's within driving distance, people will drive there.
Okay, what if we do the same thing, but a galaxy over? Do you think we'll still try to go there?
You know what we should do is we should go to the nearest alien planet that we know life exists, and we should fuck with their corn and make weird symbols in it that don't make any sense.
Fuck with their corn.
I mean,
yeah, you know what? I think the aliens thought our cornfields were just freaking giant etch-a-sketches that we built to communicate with them.
Isn't that crazy that people are like, well, what's I mean, everyone's releasing all this, alien spaceships and like all these things about traveling and fucking with NASA, but yet it turned out that all these symbols in the middle of cornfields were done with a bunch of people with sticks and fucking string. Like, oh, maybe people are just fucking with military planes and things like that with fucking sticks and string. It could be. You never know. Could be. Because I mean, you gotta kind of correlate that. People seriously thought that these signs in cornfields were made by aliens, and there's no other way. There's no footsteps. There's no how do you get these things done? And it was just people that were fucking around with farmers with geometry and 2x4s and string in the middle of the night, and convincing farmers that aliens landed on their field.
Yeah, maybe we should talk for a second about how aliens don't exist. I don't see any aliens.
If we have a longevity of humans fucking with other humans or natural phenomenon, why now?
Or, like, I've met God because I ate a mushroom, and why should I believe you saw aliens? Like...
You did? You met God over eating a mushroom?
Yeah, I don't know what kind it was, and I ate a little over an eighth of an ounce, and I tripped the hell out.
Ooh. How was he?
If you were high on drugs, then surely it was the devil.
No,
is he a nice guy?
I don't think that. He was pretty chill.
Was he a dick?
Did he ask you to sign a contract?
Just a couple. I'm not allowed to disclose anything.
It was just a non-disclosure agreement. It's okay.
You just say no?
Yeah, it's just
like, hey, do you accept me as your Lord and Savior? Well, this is awkward.
42. I didn't tell you that. But it's 42.
What's the meaning of life? 42. I told you wouldn't like it.
But oh.
We lost you, brother.
Discord hates me. Okay. So
it hates everybody.
How about... I mean, I kind of want to continue on how I don't think aliens have been here for a little bit. And how a lot of people really think that aliens are here. And we were talking about how dumb people are. And I think the ability to hallucinate is a big one. We should bring up ball lightning. Like the fact that random plasma can just happen and glow anywhere on the planet at any time. That said, what if aliens are humans from the future, time traveling to now? And they're here to guide us.
So if they're going backwards in time, then how would you come across them?
Well,
doing a terrible defense of guiding us.
They're not going backwards. They came back in time, like they time traveled.
Okay, so they can't. So you're talking about like the Repo Man theory.
Yeah, like Repo Man.
like Repo Man. So aliens are just humans from the future that invented time travel, and they're coming back to whatever, do you know?
Either help us out or take over our timeline.
Hey, Dao-Su, you had an interesting perspective on language with religion and how people see things through religion. And I was like with the movie Arrival and how things are interpreted through time. Like they said, the language is seen as linear and moving forward, but the alien don't see time that way moving forward. They see it all connected and they make a circle. In seeing the beginning connected to the end. Have you ever studied language? And, writing. Like you said, you looked at language and religion. Like perception. They say languages have different perceptions. You get what I'm saying? Like people think differently in different languages, and how they perceive things. And I was wondering, like with handwriting, because there's some languages out there, like with the Chinese and Japanese. You know, I don't know how like they end up writing so much different than how English language is.
Well,
and how they think, you know?
It's arbitrary. And I mean, I think a bunch of it has to do with culture. Like, if you look at calligraphy in English not too long ago, that was some pretty complicated looking stuff. And it took a lot of practice to learn, like, all the symbols. And I don't even want to get into Mandarin. Like, Mandarin is a ridiculously complicated language that influences the people that speak it in ways that I don't understand because I don't speak it. But I don't, like, while I do think language is a crucial tool in just the way that sentient beings understand reality at all, I don't think that language is the key to like, you won't be able to understand time in reverse because of the language you use unless we're talking like like you mathematically calculate what everything would do if you reverse time. And at that point, you can call math a language, and I do. Math is a language, but you're not speaking a language like English that's meant to communicate concepts. You're trying
Some people talk backwards in their language, like instead of pick up ball pick up. You know what I mean?
Oh, happy
like they talk
with you. That was my best Yoda. Since we're on aliens.
Or like, how the heck do you end up like writing so differently? I'm wondering what type of mind perception made them write so differently in how English is written.
It's more about the evolution.
How they perceive things. Because I'm thinking like they might like things are perceived differently.
Remember,
like other languages, you just write like in a straight line across. You know what I mean? But like in some other languages, you see like when you look at the the Chinese, you see it's just like a picture. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to understand like just one understand like just one thing and see if that changes my perception. I mean, that kind of makes me curious about Japanese and Chinese writing.
They're kind of like they evolve differently. That's the big point. Like our language pretty much evolved from, I believe, starting at cuneiform, or maybe it started somewhere else in the same sort of region. But it was essentially small shapes, usually triangles and circles and stuff like that we would carve out of wood blocks, and then we would put that into clay, stamp that into clay, and do it that way. And when you're working with that sort of stuff, you have a pretty limited select amount of shapes you use. But if you look at the Egyptians, their writing, since they were using freaking paint and stone carvings, their language was essentially a picture that just represented what was going on. So if you would have had modern English evolve from that, you would have a very picturesque-looking language rather than alphabetical type of thing we got going now. That said, there would still be a linguistic structure to it, much like Mandarin.
So there's kind of like a combination of linguistic in a letter and a picture in an act kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like you'll see, like, so it's kind of like drawing pictures with letters.
Well, cuneiform was originally developed to keep taxes. Like, it was just a way of keeping track of who owed who what money. And whereas Egyptian hieroglyphics evolved as more of a religious thing. And you have to remember that in all ancient societies across the globe, like, hardly anyone could write back then. So the actual the amount that writing influenced the perception of people is almost none, because people didn't mainly communicate with writing. They mainly communicated verbally, and I think we still kind of do today, although not as much. And then like, what about aliens, man? What if aliens, like, aliens could communicate through experience? They could literally send you the experience of them growing up on their home planet so that you understand their perspective and where they're coming from. And then if we have that kind of alien, now we could, like, I could imagine a scenario where they invade us by just coming down and convincing us that they're friendly by just forcing their lived experience down our throat so that we're essentially part them. And that's, like, I mean, technology would be there or something. When we
maybe our futures, our languages connecting together, like writing. I mean, that sounds crazy. Actually, no, that's not crazy. That's the English language. Shit, the English language is nothing but a bunch of languages that derive from other languages.
Yeah, so I think language would have a huge impact on how aliens and humans would communicate, because there's a lot, like, the Eskimos have 30 million words for snow or whatever, and they might denote slight variations in the snow. Like, if you're living in the snow, that's useful. And we're currently living on a planet, so if an alien's living in space, they might have a million words for, how relativity works. They might have a million solutions to solving space-time that they utilize depending on the situation, and they could share those multiple perspectives with us and blow our scientific minds, assuming they exist, which, or at least, like, I don't think they're going to be here at all within our lifetimes, and if they did, it would kind of be like, okay, it's up to you what you do now. When you have the ability to travel the distances that are involved in this sort of scenario, I don't think that a nuclear bomb is going to mean a whole lot to you.
Yeah, it'll be advanced.
So we can. I wanted to talk earlier about the dark forest scenario, which is essentially that we exist inside of a dark forest. Humanity's on a planet, and let's say that we are that. And the greater space around us, the Milky Way galaxy, is a part of this huge forest. And there could be anything out in this forest. It could be a giant animal that as soon as it sees another life form spring up, it immediately jumps on it and kills it to prevent anything else from ever pushing it off its top dog spot. Like, I know Mace was saying earlier that he didn't think there was any reason for aliens to be aggressive towards us, but I think that there's one easy reason, and you could say that it's because they control this territory and they plan to utilize all of the resources in the Milky Way galaxy.
They don't want humanity to advance to become competition, so they take them out.
Yeah,
there's a movie. There's a movie on that called Supernova.
Yeah, and I think that would be the more like realistic route. If aliens were going to invade, it's because they see us as they see the potential in humanity to grow to something that could harm them. So they would either easily exterminate us early or whatever they would do. Maybe just instigate us to kill ourselves. But outside of that sort of scenario, like that's what's like if I'm thinking of this like a legit forest, most animals aren't out there to kill you. Although I think it's a little different because we're I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's difficult because we don't know. There's no necessity for cooperation. Like you could have a scenario where every life form ends up eventually attempting to kill out the other ones because that's the evolutionarily advantageous position. To fight and to team up with those who are too powerful to defeat you, and then to attack the smaller ones so they can never gang up on you. And so you end up with this perpetual war state that leads us into the future. And that kind of also doesn't look good in the future of Alien.
Yeah, that movie Supernova. They came across this orb in another solar system, and they figured out that it was built by an advanced alien race that for the humans to take it back home and then blow themselves up. I think like the orb gave people strength and it was making them strong. And they were getting addicted to it. But that addiction was for them to take it back to the solar system and then wipe out the solar system of any potential race that could possibly grow and become advanced as competition. And so they left it. They figured that out and they left the orb and they ended up just warp driving out of the solar system that they were in, that they found the orb and it wiped out that solar system.
Yeah, but we're talking about a movie, right?
Well, that movie is a hypothetical. What he's saying of advanced aliens wiping out humanity.
Yep.
Yeah, have you heard of cordyceps, the fungus mimic?
Nope.
It's essentially this fungus that takes over, it like zombifies ants. So the spores kind of get on this ant, and it kind of takes over the mind of this ant and forces it to go deep into its colony so that it can basically explode out of this little ant and shoot out a ton of spores that will then infect the entire colony. And then those ants will retreat, and after that colony's dead, they will spread out and attempt to find more colonies to devastate and destroy and take over. You could imagine a scenario kind of like the one in this movie you're talking about, but where it's a microscope. It's like a virus. It's a microscopic entity that just completely controls your actions to basically destroy your own species. And I think that, like, if we're dealing with smart aliens,
virus. Well,
that's
a virus, like coronavirus.
like coronavirus, except for it would be probably it'd be less detectable. It would be specifically engineered instead of evolved. It would be something created by an AI in a few moments to just affect our biology perfectly.
That's a crazy hypothetical.
Out things.
That's a crazy hypothetical that could potentially be corona, right?
Yeah, I don't think it could really be corona, because I don't think corona.
It's engineered to just grow and mutate.
Well, if corona's engineered, which I'm not going to positively make the claim that corona is, but if it is, it's engineered to take advantage of the general nature of humanity. It gets people sick when they're indoors, when they're close to each other, and it tends to have trouble dealing with sunlight, which both makes sense for a bat disease as well as one made in a lab. Point is, the specifically designed virus by a hyper-intelligent entity that can create hyper-intelligent entities doesn't need to just work with the human system by predicting what we'll do in some sort of evolutionary determined way. They could literally design the virus to affect our mind in such a way, basically make us go insane and walk up to other people and be super friendly so they get the virus, and all you would do is have this wave of friendly people, and maybe even they get a little smarter. They're just extra friendly, and then after you've had this disease for 20 years, you drop dead, and it makes it so you can't have kids, and your kids can't have kids. And then boom, that's the entire human race. Or mosquitoes. Like we're considering doing a very dumb version of that to mosquitoes, because they give us malaria.
Yeah.
Well, we got corona, we got HIV.
For a long time. They've been releasing genetically varied mosquitoes for a long time now. At least like 10 years.
We got corona and HIV.
What?
We have corona and HIV.
Yeah, but if you were an alien, wouldn't you make something that was way more effective than corona or HIV? I mean, like if you're an alien, like wanted to take over a world, I mean, and you had all this technology and all this ability to travel between solar systems, I mean, that's such a high level of understanding to even be able to do that in a reasonable amount of time. Like they'd be able to make viruses more effective than HIV or coronavirus easily. Right? I mean, yeah, I think that seems pretty reasonable to me.
Even if they're not getting here in a reasonable time. Like, what if if they know biology well enough to put themselves on ice or give themselves infinite life, infinitely long telomeres, they can probably design a virus that can eliminate most of us, at least.
Yeah.
Why would they even bother with a virus when they can just nuke us and get it done with?
That was my point at the beginning of this. Why would
many other ways?
Why would any life form bother to come here when they could just mine asteroids?
Okay.
Why kill us this way when they can kill us that way? Why kill us that way when they can kill us this way?
Yeah.
Why kill us that way when they can kill us the other way?
Because, as I even said earlier, there's no benefit to them spending all that time and money to get here just to kill us.
Okay, so I can imagine
money on a virus. That's not a lot. That's not a huge investment.
Yeah, and I can imagine the investment why they might.
Would be.
By the way, maybe our future is to grow and expand the universe, and they're just taking us out as competition.
Hold on, guys. Let Dal finish.
So if there is a civilization that wants to ensure it has the most energy for the time, like for the great heat death of the universe when energy becomes scarce, what they want is they want at least a galaxy. They might even try to go for multiple. And what they could do if they're going for having the most, like the longest lived black hole, maybe because you could live off the energy that's emitted from a black hole once you're at those extremely far lengths of time, you can live off that for millennia, just being a computer, essentially. You don't even need to exist as a civilization. And if you're going for that, you might want to eliminate other potential competition before it's actual competition. So you could imagine basically a big bully who may either does it himself or sends out little von Neumann probes that 3D print a virus to specifically take out whatever genetic life form happens to come up, or maybe they self-destruct and they're in every planet's core. Like I could cook up whatever scenario, but I think that's a pretty plausible reason to murder everyone.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
And like there's the SETI thing, and is it METI, the trying to contact?
It's SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Life Forms, Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Yeah, and then there's, I think it's METI, which is Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligences. And there's a lot of people who are pretty scared of that sort of thing just for this type of scenario, because we could alert the von Neumann probe hiding in Saturn that there's a life form nearby for it to come blow up.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
In that case, then I'd see them using a nuke rather than a virus. So it'd be much quicker and more efficient, and less chance of it fucking up.
Well, you wouldn't even need a nuke. If you're an alien, you could just use a hyperspeed projectile. You could take like a bowling ball at hyperspeed and throw it at the planet, and boom, you could just take over. It would destroy.
You mean
the
like
entire
redirect
planet.
a meteor?
No. Like literally. Like, I don't know if you've ever looked at this. Like hyperspeed objects, you could take something the size of a bowling ball.
Yeah.
If it was traveling fast enough, it would rip right through the atmosphere. It would not deteriorate. It would hit the surface of the Earth, and the entire surface of the Earth would be covered in fire within like 30 seconds. It's fucking crazy shit. That's something our military is actually working on right now. So, if anything to scare you, think about that.
It's called a railgun.
No, that's not a railgun. Railgun is a magnetic propulsion system. What I'm talking about.
It doesn't use no explosives. They said the kinetic energy alone of it would.
Yeah, no, that's not a hyperspeed weapon. Like a hyperspeed weapon is like you're talking about something that's going in the realm of like 100,000 miles a second, something like that. Something that's just going so fucking fast it'll just tear through, boom, blow everything up.
We already have the railgun in use now. It's on the Zumwalt. It's on the Zumwalt attack.
Yep. But that is still just a projectile. That thing gets real fast. I think it's up to like, I don't know, maybe like 3,000 miles per second, something like that. Real fast.
No, it's just a 5-inch cannon that uses electromagnetism instead of gunpowder. It doesn't shoot more than 5 miles or so.
Speed. So railgun speed. 5,000. It's Mach 6. So a railgun uses magnetic fields created by high electrical currents to go Mach 6, or around 5,400 miles an hour. So yeah, 5,400 divided by 60 is your speed per minute, miles per minute.
It's on the Zumwalt destroyer.
Yep. Yeah, dude, railguns have been in use for a while, dude.
Yeah, imagine
Yeah.
the aliens see us, and they fire a railgun at a black hole, and that bullet goes around that black hole and picks up a ton of speed. Now it's going like 30% the speed of light, but what does it do? It hits another black hole, gets going huge, going like 60% the speed of light, and then it flies all the way over here and perfectly hits Earth and wipes us out right as we start to hit Type 1.
They can just direct a meteor. They don't have to go through.
Well, all they did was shoot a bullet. They didn't even need to direct a big meteor. They shot a bullet, and it got so fast that it just wiped out all life. It not even all life. It could wipe out the planet. Just shoot.
Yep.
Like when you get something going fast enough through our atmosphere,
yep,
the dinosaurs wouldn't survive the initial flash of light. Like the flash of light would be so intense that it would immediately vaporize whatever life was on that side of the planet, and then the other side would die soon thereafter.
Yeah. Well, what I did there's a game out there. So basically, what you can do is it's you view Earth, and you can say, okay, let's throw like a cup of water at Earth, and we're going to throw it at Earth at this speed, and it's just a physics game. But if you throw that cup of water at Earth fast enough, it destroys the entire planet. That's all just base physics. You know, there's what is that game called?
E equals MC squared. Yo.
It's like Planet Destroyer or something.
Maybe that's something. Velocity. Whatever the not mass and energy.
I think I saw that on YouTube.
Don't worry, I play that game. It's God, what is it called? It's why am I fucking kidding?
So there's an article in the Wall Street Journal today that says China's fishing fleet drives Beijing's global ambitions. And what do you think are the chances? With that in mind, what do you think of the chances that an alien species comes to our planet, and it's not because they're hungry? Don't you think that the thing that would really drive the expansion of life would be the food supply?
I don't know. I think if you have the technology to get between solar systems, you've probably solved the food problem.
I don't know. You have to grow a certain amount of food, right?
Well,
yeah. So, well,
you got to have a certain amount of real estate to.
Yeah, you do, but like think about like if somebody could travel between star systems. Our closest star system is like 14 light years away. Say you're going like half the speed of light. That's hundreds of years, you know. So I mean, you would have to build a ship that could sustain life. So you'd already have to have a way of making food that could sustain everybody. Or you could have like quantum, or warp travel. And I think if you had warp travel, you would have ways of having food too, because you could get there real fast. You could just send a supply ship behind you if you needed food, or you could just have a replicator,
3D printers. We're already almost there.
Well, I mean, like the replicator thing is sort of a dream at this point, right?
Oh,
but in reality, we could go to freaking Alpha Centauri right now. Just bring enough supplies with us.
Yeah, but how long would that take?
Oh,
to,
fuck,
go to
man,
Alpha
that's gonna take a
Centauri
fucking.
Right now? I mean,
that's gonna take about two or three generations in space. Yeah.
We'd be moving fast.
You don't think it's more? No, it's more than that.
I think it's more than that.
It's like 2.5 light years away, so it's.
Right. Yeah. So you spend a third of the time accelerating, a third of the time at speed, and a third of the time decelerating. It's 6 years away.
People made a hypothetical, like people go, if they go now and then
Alpha
more advanced
Centauri's
technology happens, you pass those
4.37.
people all on the way.
Yep. That's Exactly.
I just looked it up. Alpha Centauri is over 4 light years away.
Yeah.
Over 4 light years.
Yeah, 4.3.
Right. So if we just built a big enough rocket and brought enough fuel and food with us, we could go there. It would just be ridiculously expensive, right?
4 light
really
years.
long.
We don't have anywhere near the capability of traveling at light speed yet.
Yeah, nowhere near. I mean, we could. Can you imagine how big of a fuel reservoir you would need to be able to use current like fuel to travel?
To get to where it's even a 20 year
Exactly. I mean, it would be so overwhelming.
10 to the to get it down to 20 years, you would need 10 to the 7th. Let's just say 10 to 8th meters per second.
I just looked up how long it takes. It says 8,000. It says 18,750 years.
What's that?
At our
current
what
technology
we could do now? Yeah, 18,000 years.
No, not what we could do. What we have done, right? I mean, they're talking about Voyager, like how fast Voyager is traveling.
Let me see if they mentioned Voyager technology.
I mean,
okay, 4 times higher than Voyager. Okay. The I don't know what that is. Interstellar mission proposal uses minimal development of current technology, mainly qualifying a large solid upper stage to achieve a speed 4 times higher than Voyager. So on the order of 18,750 years to get to Alpha Centauri. 4 times faster than Voyager.
No, it'd be about 90 years.
But we didn't build Voyager to go to Alpha Centauri. We built Voyager to go to Jupiter, and if it makes it farther, that's lucky.
Yep, and Voyager didn't have like extended periods of propulsion, so it wasn't accelerating over time. So I'm looking at something right now, and they say, Renee Heller at the Max Planck Institute for Solar System Research in Göttingen, Germany, says we could reach an orbit of Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky, in just 69 years, about roughly.
There you go. So Alpha Centauri is well within a lifetime of a person could leave Earth and get to Alpha Centauri before they die. That's not implausible. So if you found life there and you had a good reason, if we're running out of food on Earth, right? And you were like, okay, I'm going to get frickin' 30 years worth of sea rations. 60 years worth of sea rations.
Suck.
And I could go to Alpha Centauri with 60 years worth of frickin' freeze-dried ice cream. And hope for spaghetti day, right? When you get there.
Well, even freeze-dried doesn't last 60 years, though, does it? There's
a guy on YouTube. There's a guy on YouTube that opens old
sea rats,
old sea rations, and eats them and rates how good they are. And I think the oldest one I saw him eat was World War I.
God damn, dude, that is rough. Dude, MREs are bad enough.
And it's they've got like a fig. Yeah, they've got like a fig candy bar in there, and he's like, "Oh, this is really good." Fucking World War II fig candy bar.
So Scott, you calculated 60 years?
69 years from what I'm looking at. Yep.
Wait, is that with our current technology?
That's sexy.
Yes, and this is written from a guy.
I think 20,000 years is a more realistic estimate at our current technology level.
No, hold on. Let me pull this back up. Where'd it go? Hold on. I moved off the page.
No, I mean 20,000 years would be like how long it takes to get a probe there if you launch the probe with the rocket.
Yeah.
That's all we have is rockets.
But we could easily make a rocket that's 10 times bigger than that and launch them into space
I think
refuel them in space and then freaking launch from orbit at the right place. And
I think it has to be some type of large ecosystem kind of thing in
10
traveling
times.
in traveling space because
no, you're just thinking short term. Like if your
I'm thinking
intention
long
is to
term.
do a mission, if your intention is to do a mission to just like get pictures of something, you're gonna send
a probe.
you're gonna send something out there at whatever speed it takes so that you have a job for a couple of years watching it. You're not gonna send it at the fastest it can go, right? If you're sending a person and you're like, we need to go there to colonize it so that the human race can survive or whatever, that's a different fucking story. Like we have the technology to do that. It just doesn't make sense to try it.
Yep, and I can tell you, Nybeck, what you're specifically looking at right now is something that NASA is currently looking into of sending a probe to Alpha Centauri that would take about 18,000 years. But where is this at? I'm trying to find this article because this is by somebody from Max Planck that like, hey, here's the technology we have. Here's what we could actually do. We could get there in 69 years.
Why would a probe take almost 20,000 years and then humans could get there in 60 years? That doesn't make sense.
It does because you have a bigger vehicle with more fuel. So with a probe, you have a finite amount of fuel, same way you do with like any sort of ship. But the amount of fuel that you have will greatly change the top speed that you can reach in space, and that's why you could get somebody somewhere way faster having an actual spaceship than just a probe, because a probe is just gonna burn all of its energy right off the bat. It doesn't even need to worry about coming back. So they give it enough fuel to reach a top speed and they just let it go. So with a spaceship, you also need to look at like fuel to slow down and all these kind of things. There's all these other aspects involved, and to that, that's why spaceships just have way more fuel than probes do or satellites do. Like satellites use fuel, but like
think about it. It would the cost of sending a spaceship to Alpha Centauri and get there in 60 years would probably be like $1 trillion.
$1 trillion.
And NASA is not going to send send a probe for $1 trillion.
Exactly.
Well,
they're going to try to get it done for 50 mil.
Yeah, here's where it gets different. The current best way to get a probe to Alpha Centauri that I'm aware of is to put a big friggin' laser beam in space, and then you send out a bunch of little probes, and you can hit them with this laser beam, and it will increase their speed ridiculously because they're so small that the light beam will propel them pretty fast, and we can get there pretty fast, my understanding. And even beyond that, I think we could use nuclear weapons in some sort of way to just get something going a third the speed of light if we needed to.
Yep. That's the NASA plan, is you just like blow off a nuke with a solar cell and let it go.
And especially
why not just have two
radiated too?
Yep.
Not really.
But the problem is it's not about radiation, it's about photon energy that with a solar cell that a nuclear weapon gives off. So if you blew it off like far enough from Earth, it would never have any effect. But all those photons would catch in that solar cell, and that's what propels it forwards. As solar cells don't respond to radiation, they respond to photons.
That's funny. Yeah, so human tech is boring. What do you think aliens could do? What do you think our next step will be after solar sail and nuking our own stuff to get it to the next point?
Also think about this. Think about like if think about fundamentally, we're the first civilization that started in the galaxy. We're the first ones. and we're going to be the ones going out, you know, that nobody's ever seen, like a spaceship coming in. It's going to be us. There has to be a first, right? Why couldn't
All
it
right,
be us?
I think I can one up you.
We
What
could
if?
be the last.
What if?
We could be the last two. Exactly. I know.
No, not
That's
Tim.
not what I was.
Instead of, we could be the last instead of. We could have missed all the other civilizations.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
there was-
yeah.
Oh damn!
Exactly. Yep.
They're all the
Let's explore that one.
other civilizations
All
are all
done.
dead.
And that's
They-
why we
They all
can't
died
see.
in an
That's why we don't
intergalactic war.
see any evidence of it. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, so there was this time in the history of the universe where the average temperature of the universe was like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like, space
Yeah.
whales could have been the first life form.
No, not space whales. Dude, very true. Yeah. I mean, never know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never.
How long
fucking
was
know,
it
man.
70 degrees for? Was it a millisecond or was it a
Well,
billion years?
I don't actually know off my head, but I would assume it was at least a couple of years. I don't think it was 1 millisecond after the Big Bang or anything.
Yeah.
But it's probably might not have happened that way. Well, what I was gonna say is, what if we're the aliens, but it's not in the sense that we show up on another planet. It's in the sense that humanity spreads across the galaxy, and the time lag of communication separates our cultures and our evolution to the point that we become the alien.
Yep.
Well, that would certainly happen if you traveled close to the speed of light across the galaxy and back.
Absolutely. Yep.
You'd come back and it'd be like 14,000 years later.
Exactly. That's actually something that
You'd be
I've
like,
thought
"I'm back
about,
from the mission, guys," and it's like, "We're guys, who are you?"
This is actually something I've thought about, like how great of a like sci-fi show would it be if you had like humans who all left Earth, they all went to different places, but they all turned into like different alien races like Klingons and fucking Cardassians and all that kind of stuff. But they all
How would that happen?
Kardashian? Did you say Kardashians?
No, Cardassians from Star Trek.
Step up your nerd.
These are the Kardashians. A big booty alien space race.
Dude, that'd be fucking hilarious.
You got the guys with the big foreheads and the ladies over there.
Oh no, the Cardassians were the guys with those like really like wide necks. You know, the gray guys with the really wide necks.
I don't remember those guys.
I remember them though.
Yeah,
I remember the guys who were like half white
Deep
and half
Space
black.
Nine.
Yeah,
that was when I quit watching Star Trek. It just got too bizarre.
The Kardashians were like the
soap
ones that
opera-ish.
captured Picard, and then they were like, "There are 5 lights." No, there's 4 lights. There's that one.
Yeah, they were basically like the Nazis of the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, they hated the Bajorans.
Yep. It's fucking Bajorians, man. Can't trust them.
They like money. They're exactly like those freaking. Oh damn! Who's the money guys in Star Trek?
You're talking about. Why am I forgetting it?
The guys with the big ears.
Humans.
Yeah.
The guys with the big ears. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had the. Why am I forgetting that? Damn, it's been a long time.
Space Jews.
Space Jews? Pretty much is basically what it was. You know?
They were super capitalists. They were the communist depiction of capitalists in the Star Trek universe.
Obviously. If the space Nazis hated the space Jews, I wonder if
Ferengis. That's what they
Ferengis,
were.
Ferengis. So the space Nazis hated the space Jews. Is that what you're saying?
They did indeed. Oh no! The space Nazi didn't have anything. No, the space Nazis were good with the space Jews. They just didn't like. They didn't like this. I don't know. So the Bajorans were people on a planet that had a prophet that came to them that died and was reborn. Space
Well,
Nazis
that's
were going against that. And then, like the prophet moved between people and people, or like people took on the spirit of whatever the prophet was. And then
Yeah.
at one point, Cisco became the prophet, which was weird.
Cisco, the
Weird place.
telecommunications company, or the food service company?
Oh no, Cisco, the commander of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's probably enough Star Trek talk, guys.
Everyone's leaving. They're like, okay,
I know,
bye.
I know.
I wanted to talk about aliens, not
let's,
Star Trek.
let's knock all that off. Yeah.
we could try to keep it like, how likely do you think it is that life is common enough that we could have like a galactic federation? Because
In our 3 dimensions?
yeah, well, yeah. Let's say we're aiming for Star Trek. We're going to be that picturesque thing that people like to paint.
Hyper egalitarian universe.
Like, I'm going to worship Star Trek. What do we have to do to make Star Trek happen? You think you like?
Well, so the most important thing is that Star Trek is post scarcity.
So replicators.
Yep. Yeah. Resources are not a problem, and then what happens after that?
Well, I guess how close do you think we are to that?
To put what kind? Well, to being able to print food.
Yeah, to tell you can have a microwave that prints food.
Well, we can print food, but it takes like whole oil refineries and stuff.
So it's like 60 years? Because we had computers that were like huge, maybe 100 years.
To print food. So if you start with what are you starting with for a raw material?
Well, that's a good.
So we can start with natural gas as a raw material, and we can turn that into ethanol, and then we can turn the ethanol into polysaccharides and stuff like that. So we can already make sugar out of natural gas essentially, but it takes like whole refineries.
Well, maybe I should try to avoid getting all futurism-y, because now I just want to invoke algae and say I win. Make algae.
Space algae?
Sure, yeah, if we breed algae, if we get the genetic modification abilities to breed algae that can digest whatever type of soil, like we could specifically engineer one for clay and one for this type of soil, and then turn that into ethanol or whatever, into eventually polysaccharides and then food. And then you could do it as like a crazy witch lady stirring a pot of bubbling algae instead of a oil refinery. But we would have to have the ability to do all that. We'd have to have a lot of know-how. What if we shift this to, instead of aliens, we go like rogue AI? So a paperclip maximizer. There's a machine out there making paperclips out of everything, and we discover it in the Milky Way. Do you think we could do anything against it?
Against the paperclip machine?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
we could be turned into paper.
There was a cartoon about that, wasn't there?
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, that's Stargate replicators. Stargate had replicators. They just consumed everything to just replicate for themselves alone. That's
And were
that.
they?
Well, that idea did come from what Dal's talking about, because the idea that Dal's talking about is an older idea of the paperclip replication machine and what it would do.
Uh-huh.
He showed, yeah.
Was it? Is the paperclip Is the paperclip replication machine made out of paperclips?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I don't know. Maybe not.
It's like self-assembled paperclips.
Basically, I think that's the idea. You know, it's something that just like self-assembles. That like just takes in material and reproduces. And it's not necessarily genetic. It's not necessarily life. It just takes in material and makes a copy. Takes in material and makes a copy, which is, I mean, I guess life, right? If it did that enough, there would be certain mutations that would happen that would end up turning into life.
I don't know. It has to respond to stimulus and stuff like that, right? For it to be life.
Yeah. But
Well,
but
if
who
it sees
knows?
food
After
nearby.
100,000 years, if it was doing that over and over and over again, maybe it could respond to stimulus.
Maybe it would mutate into like colonies of paperclip machines that swarmed things if it got in trouble.
Exactly.
Did
Well,
you
then all
just
of a sudden
turn
those-
my paperclip maximizer into a space whale?
I think I did.
I'm not a fan of this.
Space whale.
We can't keep coming back to space whales.
It's hilarious.
Hey, we kind of like how computers, like you do programming computers. You kind of do that with DNA now with living organisms, right? In manipulating the DNA in order to, in creating. I think they call it scripts, right? Genetic engineering. They could create a certain organism, kind of like that's what a vaccine, that's what the COVID is, right? You engineer the COVID, what do you call it, the COVID, I'm not sure what they do, but I think they oh no, it's a dead
No, you're right. Someone engineered COVID. Yeah, that's right.
I was trying to avoid that, Bruce.
It's okay to say that.
God damn it.
Yeah, we're not being monitored by any nations on the eastern coast of Asia, are we?
They know. Everyone knows.
Those fucking bastards.
It was a wet market, man.
No, I think it's just logos. I think that virus was out there the whole time, and we just learned to name it.
The virus has been out there that whole time. It's a really bad flu. We had a terrible flu season, and it just got the best of us, and we were so afraid of death that we had to try and preserve it at all costs, including everyone staying at home under lock and key.
And the vast majority of the deaths are actually caused by inappropriate use of ventilators.
Yeah, it's true. This is the thing, man. That's what gets me.
We're talking about aliens,
some
Bruce.
awesome things. So aliens have they've come here and about face because they're like, these people are they're irredeemable, these people. Have you guys, on a side note that's sort of alien-esque, did you guys see Monster Hunter, the movie?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I actually liked it. It was kind of alien feeling, like they went to some sort of alien place, It's pretty cool.
Yep.
There was a video game. It was a video game movie. So
was it? I didn't know it was made of. Yeah. I didn't know it was initially a video game.
That's an original PlayStation video game.
That makes more sense now. Now that you say that, it makes a lot. That makes sense for the lack of decent plot, really.
and the assumption that you already know all the characters.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
It's fucking amazing.
Still better than the Mortal Kombat movie, though, right?
The one that's coming out looks killer. Like tomorrow or Friday.
It does,
Oh,
dude.
there's a
It looks
new one?
crazy
Does.
good, dude.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's like
yeah, I
live
know.
action. It's more like a legit take on it. Like the first Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat movie was campy on purpose. This
Yep.
one is like an actual legit,
yeah.
just brutal sort of rated R, movie.
Yep. The hardcore true action movie where it's just
I
like
think so, dude.
people getting like bones like broken like in crazy places.
Dude, the trailer.
Like, yeah, dude, I know.
Sub-Zero like kills a guy, then freezes the blood that splatters, takes the blood that he froze, turns it into a spike, and stabs him again.
I know. It's fucking so good.
It's like so freaking crazy.
It's so
dude.
good. Fatality.
It's like double fatality. It's like kill him and now kill him again with his own blood. Oh, it's brutal.
It's gonna be good. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
good.
But the alien stuff, did you guys talk about like whether or not we think aliens have already been discovered and they're just keeping it under wraps?
Who's they?
We should.
There is that discussion.
Governments
right now.
around the world.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what. I'm from Nevada, so I can talk about Area 51 like for hours.
Yeah.
All right, tinfoil hats on, guys. Let's do it. Let's hear the secret government alien meeting plans. Let's do it.
I don't know. I don't think it's aliens. I think it's just in Area 51. I think it's just real, actual secret test planes. Yeah, it's actual just weapons testing.
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly there is an alien spacecraft that some dude frickin' actually broke his silence and went to the Las Vegas Review-Journal and like spilled all the beans on like unilhexium or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they discovered like element 116, and that's the key to frickin' gravity manipulation. And it's like, okay, I'm willing to hear that, but okay, so tell me how that works. I don't understand how just having a heavier element makes actually gravity control possible. That doesn't make sense. But dude made it on Joe Rogan, so he must be legit.
It's hard to say. Sometimes I wonder if that stuff is disinformation on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
On Joe Rogan?
No, like just the narratives that are being played, like on mass media or on books or anything that's allowed. Like, if you believe that the government has the ability to keep things under a wrap, they also have the ability to snuff out anyone that could possibly reveal secrets. They're not going to care about killing a guy. So the only thing that makes sense to me is that they would turn them into, disinformation campaigns. Not to their known, like they don't know they're doing this. They're just like fed on purpose.
Yeah.
Phony info.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you on that because I don't think it's this grand conspiracy that there's like some brilliant mind behind all of it, like that could perfectly orchestrate everything that we see and nobody ever knew who they were. Of course, that's nonsense.
And and they're a government employee.
Yeah, exactly. But what's way more plausible is like people are just dumb. I mean, that's my opinion. People
are dumb, but I think there's
not
also
necessarily dumb, but ignorant. Like because you could be smart and still be ignorant. You just don't know.
So here's the real.
Is he roboting for you guys?
Yeah, Doolittle, you're breaking up, dude. Doolittle, it's bad.
A little better.
Dude, maybe disconnect and reconnect again. We'll wait for you.
So, what about the aliens in Mars? They're cool.
How about now?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone says I got 5G, so. I don't know. It's
It
not
could
the
have been
it's not the
Discord.
internet. It's not the internet. So in Imperial Valley where I used to live, there's a Naval Air Force base, and the F-18 pilots freaking fly all kinds of crazy missions. You know, doing air acrobatics and training and stuff like that. And there was actually a guy on a podcast that I watched that was admitting to fucking with people. And there's this place out like to the northwest, on the northwest side of the Salton Sea, where people go and they camp out just to like see aliens, because people always see aliens when they go there, right? So if you want to sight a freaking UFO, people go there and they camp out for the weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
And
They do a lot of drugs.
F-18, yeah, they do a lot of drugs. The F-18 pilots fly over. And I knew some of these guys when I was in the Navy, so I totally believe it. These guys are all pranksters. So they fly over the place where they know that there's supposed to put people that are out there looking for aliens, and they'll fly really high, shut off their engines, glide down to a certain altitude, nose up, hit the afterburners, so that you just see this like giant bright flash of light, and then cut the afterburners, glide away, and then go back to flying like normal. So they're just totally fucking with these people that are out there camping out looking for aliens. And it's like 100% success rate whenever they do that. There's like, you know, reports in the newspaper or something like that. So people saw aliens, and I don't know. I think that's a better explanation than anything else that I've seen.
Well, I mean, some of those videos that were released, though, there are even like guys who are pilots in the Air Force, and not like these crazy guys who are like trying to get attention, but they like went and like asked later, and like, yeah, something happened. I have no way to possibly explain what happened. And
Well, like the Tic Tac one. If you see the Tic Tac videos,
yeah, exactly, the Tic Tac one. Yep.
I'm skeptical, but I believe something happened. So David Fravor,
yeah,
I've actually met that guy in real life. He's an honest dude. He's not fucking around.
Exactly.
He's not a joker kind of guy. And I was actually
Yep.
on the Nimitz when that event happened. And it's like,
really?
Yeah, that event really happened. But it's not that. But it doesn't mean that that thing was a craft. Whatever he saw, whatever it was, like it was detected on multiple sensors. It was detected on multiple sensors from multiple different vehicles, right? Exactly. So it's like you can't say that it didn't exist, but I don't think you can say that it was necessarily like extraterrestrial intelligent life.
Absolutely.
Like who knows what it was? Who knows what it was? And I don't think it's anything in the U.S. military arsenal. I don't think it's anything in a Ford military arsenal. But I'm not going to claim that I know what it was.
It's probably Elon Musk, right? That guy's got like some like crazy shit going on in the background, like he's ready to take over the world.
Nah, it's more phony stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Elon Musk. Yeah, I think he's a total phony. Yeah,
I think that he's probably a fine businessman with some decent ideas at one point, but like, you know, let's not pretend the guy's Tony Stark. You know what I mean? It's crazy town.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, he's
a little out of control there.
Yeah, he's a little bit out of bounds for me at this point.
Yeah, I get the feeling he smokes more pot than I do, and that's definitely unhealthy.
No, I don't think he does at all, actually.
That's where he smokes more pot than I do.
If you looked at like the famous video of him smoking pot on Rogan, he looked like he'd never lit up a joint in his life.
Yeah,
I make funny faces every time.
I also do think he is also smart enough to know how that looked, because there have been stories of like when he was in college, he was like fucking tripping balls all the fucking time. Like
who was that?
Maybe he was playing 4D chess there, dude. And he was like just playing up the stupid card.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard though, like when he was in college, like he was like constantly like fucking tripping on mushrooms all the time. Like it wasn't like something that was like once like 4 times a year kind of thing. It's like, oh, it's mushrooms.
The way that guy talks about simulations, like, definitely, I could see that.
Yeah.
Dal, how did the alien chat go for you today?
It went good. I think I got my rant in during a lull when it was just me and Nivik, so.
Nice. Right on.
I mostly wanted it to be about the possible different kinds of aliens, but now I'm cool with putting on the tinfoil hat and talking about Mothman and
Mothman,
all these cool
like
things.
from Mothman Prophecies?
Yeah, I think it's a cryptid, but that could be aliens.
That's a
good
wicked. I love that story, by the way.
Yeah,
what story is that?
Mothman Prophecies. They did a movie with.
Not familiar.
Oh, dude, you should watch it. It's my favorite psychological thriller, The Mothman Prophecies. Yeah, it's a good one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the movie.
It's fucking scary though. Don't watch it by yourself.
I know the cryptid story is like a dude with wings came down from the sky in the middle of the street, and like people talked to him and interacted with him, and
so
he was freaky and acted weird.
Yeah, the movie delves into that, and there's also a future telling aspect to it, and these are hypothesized to be beings from a dimension where they can actually see time, and then they decide to communicate certain details to some people about future catastrophes that are going to happen. So it's basically this guy's struggle of well, I mean, it starts off with he goes for a drive in the middle of the night thinking he's headed to, okay, well, there's a lot more things, like his wife dies from this very rare form of lymphoma, some type of brain cancer, and it kind of just came on suddenly and she died pretty quickly. And then this, he kind of is trying to get over it, and he goes on this drive saying he's just going to night drive to this one town instead of just waiting until the morning. So he starts night driving, and then he breaks down and then walks to a house nearby. And then this guy claims that he's been visiting, that same guy who has never been to this house before has been visiting the house for the last 3 nights and knocking at the exact same time. And the guy played by Kevin Costner is just like, what are you talking about? I've never been here before. Not Kevin Costner. It's who played in Chicago, Billy Flynn, the lawyer.
Is that what's that guy's name?
Fucking
Dempsey? No, what's that guy's name?
It's Jesus Christ.
Richard. Gere?
Yeah, Richard Gere.
Yeah, that's it.
But anyways, so, and then he realizes he's on the other side of the state somehow.
Yeah.
So he jumped all of this extra distance with no knowledge of how he's gotten there, and it doesn't make any sense. So anyways, this town, he starts realizing there's this phenomenon happening where people are claiming to have seen some thing that's like a person but taller and thin, and people have a hard time describing it, but there's weird shit happening. And yeah, it's a really good movie, The Mothman Prophecies.
Is that where Slender Man comes from, or is that something else?
Nah, that's something else. I'm gonna pull us off the air now, but let's jump over to the Tav. Thanks everyone on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in to this aliens discussion. I'd actually like to do another one where we do delve into more of these, the fantasy artistic realm of what these things could be, kind of just hypothesizing some different species and talking about some films.
I wish we got to do more concrete, like, conspiracy theories. We kind of avoided them, I feel
Well, maybe Dal doing having conversations on conspiracy theories should be next week. Like, we should start that.
Fuck yeah. I was thinking about doing language because I caught Nivik's attention with my language talk.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
conspiracy theories are more fun.
Nivik, I'll catch you over on the other side at the TAV. But thanks, everybody. Let art and science inspire.